टीम ग्रैंड फाइनल्स में ये बिलीव करके आती है कि वो चैंपियन बन सकती है, लेकिन टीम एपेक्स गेमिंग जो उस वक्त अपने ओरिजिनल बैनर टीम हिंद के नाम से खेल रही थी, उनकी कहानी थोड़ी अलग थी। तेज FFMIC 2026 स्प्रिंग के ग्रैंड फाइनल्स के स्टेज पर कदम रखने से काफी पहले, पहला मैच शुरू होने से पहले, पहला पॉइंट मिलने से पहले उन्होंने अपना एंडिंग इमेजिन कर लिया था। उनके लिए ट्रॉफी पहले ही उनकी थी। ये ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं था, ये बिलीव था। सालों तक साथ खेलने का बिलीव, हर सेटबैक से वापस उठने का बिलीव और नॉकआउट स्टेज क्रॉस करके इंडिया की बेस्ट टीम के सामने खड़े होने का बिलीव। अब सिर्फ एक सवाल बाकी था, क्या वो बिलीव रियलिटी बन सकता था?
जो अपना FFMIC 2026 था अपना स्प्रिंग, उसमें हमने मेनली फोकस किया था अपनी 4v4 फाइट्स में। हमने जितना ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग कर सकते थे हमने उसको स्ट्रॉन्ग किया, अपने कोऑर्डिनेशन पे काम किया। तो फिर ऐसा हो गया था कि फिर एक टाइम पे हम कोई भी टीम को 4v4 इजिली मार दे रहे थे। उसी से फिर हमको कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया था कि 4v4 फाइट अपनी बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रॉन्ग है, बस जोन्स और बाकी सब चीज पे अपने को ध्यान देना है, बाकी फाइट्स तो हम निकाल ही लेंगे।
लेकिन चैंपियनशिप डिसाइड होने से पहले एक और हर्डल बाकी था, पॉइंट रश। 6 मैचेस, एक दिन, और वही डिसाइड करता था कि चैंपियनशिप डे पर हर टीम कितने हेड स्टार्ट पॉइंट्स के साथ शुरुआत करेगी। यहाँ ट्रॉफी नहीं मिलनी थी, सिर्फ मोमेंटम, और टीम हिंद ने इसी चीज को टारगेट बनाया। उन्होंने लॉबी डोमिनेट करने की कोशिश नहीं की, हर गेम में अननेसेसरी फाइट्स नहीं ली, जहां अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली वहां कैपिटलाइज किया। और जब मैच 5 आया, टीम हिंद ने पूरे पॉइंट रश का अपना बेस्ट परफॉर्मेंस दिया। एक और ग्रेनेड यहाँ पर से करा जाएगा,
बिल्कुल अकेले, नीचे 3 खिलाड़ी अकेले डैश करेंगे and there comes the team हिंद with the booyah, booyah, booyah।
19 एलिमिनेशन के साथ बूया, एक स्टेटमेंट गेम। दिन के एंड तक टीम हिंद ओवरऑल 3rd प्लेस पर फिनिश हुई। रिवॉर्ड मिला 5 हेड स्टार्ट पॉइंट्स।
ग्रैंड फाइनल्स में तो हमारा स्टार्टिंग में टारगेट यही था कि हमको 3 से 4 गेम में चैंपियन रश ऑन करना है, बट ऐसा हुआ कि हमारे गेम्स बहुत ज्यादा एवरेज चले गए कुछ रीजंस की वजह से।
चैंपियन रश डे की शुरुआत हुई और शुरुआती 4 मैचेस में एक बात क्लियर हो गई, ये टूर्नामेंट किसी एक टीम का नहीं होने वाला था। हर गेम का हीरो अलग था। मैच 1 में फायर आइज गेमिंग ने पेस सेट किया। मैच 2 में गॉडलाइक ईस्पोर्ट्स ने लॉबी कंट्रोल कर ली। उसके बाद RNX Esports ने बैक टू बैक बूयाज लेकर पूरा लीडर बोर्ड हिला दिया। हर मैच के बाद स्टैंडिंग्स बदल रही थी, हर फाइट टाइटल रेस को एक नई डायरेक्शन दे रही थी, और टीम हिंद वो क्वाइटली रेस के अंदर बनी रही। चैंपियन रश फॉर्मेट में कभी कभी सरवाइव करते रहना लीड करने से भी ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, क्योंकि जब बाकी टीम्स एक गेम में टॉप करती और अगले गेम में क्रैश हो जाती, वहीं टीम हिंद कभी पिक्चर से बाहर नहीं हुई, वो बस अपने मोमेंट का वेट कर रही थी।
फिर उसके बाद हमको अपना गेम प्लान चेंज करना पड़ा।
फिर हमारा बरमुदा मैप आया जिसमें हमको ज्यादा एलिमिनेशंस की नीड थी, तो हमने उसी के हिसाब से उस गेम को खेला और
5th और 6th गेम में बहुत ज्यादा एग्रेसिव गए, तो उससे अपने को बहुत ज्यादा फायदा हुआ।
4 मैचेस बीत चुके थे। टीम हिंद अब भी अपने ब्रेक थ्रू का इंतजार कर रही थी, और दूसरी तरफ गॉडलाइक ईस्पोर्ट्स धीरे धीरे चैंपियनशिप के सबसे बड़े कंटेंडर्स बन के उभर चुकी थी। हर पासिंग गेम के साथ प्रेशर बढ़ता जा रहा था। अब एक और एवरेज मैच का ऑप्शन ही नहीं था। इसी बीच आई एक रोटेशन केप टाउन से कोटाटुआ की तरफ, और वही हुआ जिसने टीम हिंद के टूर्नामेंट की डायरेक्शन ही बदल दी। सीधा सामने थे डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग। ये सिर्फ एक और स्क्वाड फाइट नहीं थी, आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग के लिए ये चैंपियनशिप रेस में बने रहने का मौका था, और टीम हिंद के लिए ये वो फाइट थी जो उनके पूरे टूर्नामेंट को या तो जिंदा रख सकती थी या वहीं खत्म कर सकती थी।
सामने की तरफ से टीम हिंद इनको अटैक करती हुई इस समय पर लीड आगे बढ़ते हुए बुलविन कट आउट करने की कोशिश है। माफिया he is the last man standing because IQ Total Gaming is yet to touch the 80 point mark। क्या माफिया अपने खिलाड़ियों को गेम के अंदर इस मुकाबले में वापस ला पाएंगे? जी नहीं, 10वें पायदान पे IQ Total Gaming का खात्मा होता हुआ,
और उस मोमेंट के बाद पूरा मैप टीम हिंद के लिए खुल गया, और धीरे धीरे लॉबी सिर्फ 3 स्क्वाड्स तक सीमित हो गई। अब टीम हिंद सिर्फ रेस में नहीं थी, अब पूरी लॉबी को पता चल चुका था ये टीम चैंपियनशिप जीत भी सकती है।
हमको तो शुरू से ऐसे गेम की नीड थी चैंपियन बनने के लिए, क्योंकि एवरेज सा ही गेम हमारा जा रहा था शुरू से, या फिर आप फर्स्ट देख लो, सेकंड देख लो, थर्ड देख लो, पूरी टीम मतलब बूस्टअप हो जाए और चैंपियन की तरफ आगे बढ़े।
गुजरात, कैन यू फील द फायर?
मैच 5 ने टीम हिंद के चैंपियनशिप ड्रीम को दोबारा जिंदा कर दिया, लेकिन अगले 2 गेम्स उस ड्रीम को फिर से तोड़ने पर आ गए। मैच 6 8th प्लेस फिनिश।
बट वो सोलारा वाला मैच में हमने थोड़ी सी गलती की, कोऑर्डिनेशन में इशू आया, वो फाइट अपन हार गए।
हाँ, एक चीज जरूर हुई, टीम हिंद ने चैंपियन रश एक्टिवेट कर लिया।
तो चैंपियन रश ऑन होने के बाद हमारी स्ट्रेटजी में हमने चेंज लाया था, क्योंकि उससे पहले हमने बहुत सारे टूर्नामेंट्स में भी प्रैक्टिस की थी जब चैंपियन रश ऑन होने के बाद बुया करने की, तो फिर हम उसी स्ट्रेटजी के साथ आगे गए थे।
चैंपियन रश सिर्फ आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव चेंज नहीं करता, पूरी लॉबी का गेम प्लान बदल देता है। अब हर टीम को पता था टीम हिंद को बस एक और बुया चाहिए, सिर्फ एक, और चैंपियनशिप खत्म। प्रेशर सिर्फ टीम हिंद पर नहीं था, प्रेशर उन हर टीम पर था जो उन्हें उस एक बुया से रोकना चाहती थी।
फिर अपने को नेक्स्ट गेम में चांस मिला एंड हम सेम स्ट्रेटजी के साथ गए।
मैच 7 में गॉड लाइक के अगेंस्ट एक रिस्की पुश, और इस बार सब कुछ उल्टा पड़ गया।
हिंद को होल्ड बैक नहीं करना चाह रहे, स्क्वाड को स्पॉट आउट करा, स्पॉट करते ही अंदर घुसे टीम गॉड लाइक, दे आर इन ट्रबल। यहाँ पर से मार्को को भी गिरा दिया जाएगा, केडी गॉर्डन बुलविन वो भी नॉकआउट होते हुए नजर आने वाले। साहिल जाट एक लौटे खिलाड़ी, उनको भी करा बाहर।
टीम हिंद लॉबी की पहली एलिमिनेटेड स्क्वाड बन गई। जो मोमेंटम मैच 5 में बना था वो एक ही गेम में रुक सा गया।
तो मतलब हम 7th मैच में जब एलिमिनेट हुए तो मतलब सब वैसे ही साइड हो गए, फिर डिमोटिवेट टाइप के होने लगे। फिर जैसे ही हमने देखा कि 7th मैच में आरएनटी ने बुया करा, तो फिर मतलब सब एकदम ऐसे खुश हो गए और फिर एक दूसरे में मतलब चेयर अप करने लगे कि मतलब अब तो करना ही है, अब तो चैंपियन बनना ही है।
अब हर मिस हुई बुया सिर्फ पॉइंट्स का नुकसान नहीं थी, वो बाकी टीम्स को एक और चीज दे रही थी, होप। मैच 7 के बाद इक्वेशन बिल्कुल बदल चुकी थी। चैंपियन रश एक्टिवेट करने वाली 7 टीम्स में वो सबसे पीछे थे, लीडर बोर्ड के लीडर से 24 पॉइंट्स पीछे। पहली बार चैंपियनशिप इतनी दूर लग रही थी। फाइनल गेम शुरू हुई।
उस मैच में हमारे साथ अनएक्सपेक्टेड चीजें भी हुई थी कि हमने एक स्प्लिट लिया था कमांड और स्टोन रिच पर, और हमारे पे पूरी टीम आ गई थी एक स्प्लिट पर। तो साहिल उधर स्टोन रिच पे मर गया और हमारा छोटा और मैं कमांड पे थे। तो वो फाइट इतनी जरूरी थी निकालनी, क्योंकि अगर वो फाइट हार जाते तो हमारी पूरी टीम एलिमिनेट हो जाती।
पड़ेगा डिलीट एंड चेक इन हो चुके हैं। इस दौरान 2 खिलाड़ी सर्वाइव करेंगे और वहां पे से लॉन्च पैड से निकल जाएंगे। कैश टेक में सफलता मिलेगी, वहां पे भी शॉट्स लिए गए और काफी जगह चोट लेकर गए।
अब सिर्फ एक ऑब्जेक्टिव था, फाइनल सर्कल तक पहुंचना। 4 टीम्स, चारों चैंपियन रश पर, एक ट्रॉफी, एक फाइनल सर्कल। जो ये गेम जीतेगा वही चैंपियन बनेगा। जोन और कोलैप्स हुई, अब कवर खत्म हो रहा था और इसी मोमेंट पर टीम हिंद ने सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट डिसीजन लिया। बाकी टीम्स हेजिटेट कर रही थी, टीम हिंद पहले मूव कर गई। रिस्क था, लेकिन उस रिस्क ने उन्हें सबसे वैल्यूएबल चीज दी, पोजीशन। अब बाकी टीम्स स्पेस के लिए लड़ रही थी और टीम हिंद के पास ऑलरेडी वो स्पेस थी। जोन के दूसरे साइड फायरस गेमिंग और आईक्यू टोटल गेमिंग एक डेस्परेट फाइट में उलझ चुके थे। दोनों जानती थी ये फाइट हारते ही टूर्नामेंट खत्म। दूसरी तरफ RNX ने टीम हिंद पर प्रेशर बनाने की कोशिश की, लेकिन बेटर पोजीशनिंग का एडवांटेज टीम हिंद के पास था। पुश डाउन किया और RNX एलिमिनेट, और अब सिर्फ 2 टीम्स बच गई थी, फायरस गेमिंग और टीम हिंद।
थोड़ा सा डैमेज होते हुए नजर आएंगे, बढ़ेंगे आगे की ओर। स्काइलर का प्रयोग, ट्रोल को यहाँ पर से डैमेज अकेला गिरा, शॉटो करेंगे, ट्रोल के ऊपर अटैक है, ट्रोल को करा जाएगा नॉकआउट। ब्रिज एक लौटे खिलाड़ी, उनको भी करा बाहर। नेक्स्ट फ्री फायर मैच इंडिया कप 2026 स्प्रिंग के विनर्स हमारे सामने, दे आर नन अदर देन टीम हिंद।
चैंपियनशिप्स सिर्फ फाइनल बुया से याद नहीं रखी जाती, ना सिर्फ ट्रॉफी लिफ्ट से, ना सेलिब्रेशन से और ना ही कॉन्फेटी से। उनकी फाउंडेशन उससे बहुत पहले पड़ती है। मेटा को समझने में, स्क्रिम्स के एंडलेस आवर्स में, हर हार के बाद हुई अनकंफर्टेबल डिस्कशंस में और उस बिलीफ में जो कभी टूटने नहीं दिया गया। टीम हिंद ने TEZ FFMIC 2026 स्प्रिंग इसीलिए नहीं जीता क्योंकि वो परफेक्ट थी, उन्होंने इसलिए जीता क्योंकि जब जब टूर्नामेंट ने उन्हें टेस्ट किया, हर बार उनके पास एक जवाब था। और अब एक नया चैप्टर शुरू हो रहा है। इस बार टीम हिंद के नाम से नहीं, टीम एपेक्स गेमिंग के नाम से। अब बाकी टीम्स ट्रॉफी के पीछे नहीं भागेंगे, वो भागेंगे डिफेंडिंग चैंपियंस के पीछे, क्योंकि फॉल सीजन में हर टीम का टारगेट एक होगा, टीम एपेक्स गेमिंग।
इस टाइटल को हमारे को डिफेंड करना एक बहुत बड़ी चीज है, क्योंकि हमारी अब रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी और ज्यादा बढ़ गई है। जैसे कि हम और भी जानकारी और फैंस भी हमारे बहुत सारे नए जुड़े हैं हमारे साथ, तो हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि उनको निराश ना करना। एंड इस बार कंपटीशन भी बहुत ज़्यादा रहने वाला है, क्योंकि जो लास्ट टाइम टीम्स थी वो भी हैं और काफ़ी सारी नई टीम्स भी आई हैं, तो डेफिनेटली कंपटीशन बढ़ा है एंड उसलिए हमको भी उसके लिए और ज़्यादा मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी।
हमको इंटरनेशनल एक्सपोजर चाहिए था, तो हमने वो अचीव करा है। AWC 2026 के स्लॉट को अर्न करा है और मतलब अपने आप को मतलब प्रूव करेंगे AWC में, ताकि अपने फैंस को निराश ना करें।
हर चैंपियनशिप में एक ऐसा प्लेयर होता है जो सिर्फ स्कोर बोर्ड पर नहीं, पूरे टूर्नामेंट की कहानी पर अपना नाम लिख देता है। TEZ FFMIC 2026 स्प्रिंग के लिए वो प्लेयर था हिंद वुलविन। 22 एलिमिनेशन, 8300 प्लस डैमेज और ग्रैंड फाइनल्स का मोस्ट वैल्यूएबल प्लेयर।
जब मुझे MVP का टाइटल मिला तो मैं बहुत खुश था, क्योंकि मैंने इसी के लिए बहुत प्रैक्टिस करी थी। मेरे घर वाले भी बहुत खुश थे, क्योंकि वो देख रहे थे और उन्होंने देखा कि मुझे MVP मिला और चैंपियन हम बने। आपकी नज़रों में मैं MVP हूँ, बट मेरी नज़रों में मेरी पूरी टीम है, मतलब टीम वर्क ही मेरे लिए सबसे ज़्यादा है।
एक सफर यही खत्म होता है और एक नया सफर शुरू। अब बारी है टीम एपेक्स गेमिंग के बैनर के नीचे अपने टाइटल को डिफेंड करने की। TEZ FFMIC 2026 फॉल के दौरान हम लेकर आएंगे और भी बिहाइंड द सीन्स स्टोरीज, एक्सक्लूसिव प्लेयर इंटरव्यूज और टूर्नामेंट की हर बड़ी कहानी सबसे करीब से।
एंड होप सो इस बार भी हम वो टाइटल को जीतें।
तेज फ्री फायर मैक्स इंडिया कप आ गया है वापस, और इस बार पहले से भी ज्यादा बड़ा। फॉर्ज योर लेगेसी के लिए तैयार हो जाइए, क्योंकि इस फॉल हम लेकर आ रहे हैं ज्यादा सिटीज, ज्यादा टीम्स और चैंपियंस बनने के और भी ज्यादा मौके। जर्नी की शुरुआत होगी 4 हफ्तों के सिटी क्वालिफायर से। हर हफ्ते 3 सिटीज फीचर होंगी, यानी पूरे भारत में कुल 12 सिटीज। हर सिटी में पहली 144 टीम्स कंपटीशन में उतरेंगी, एक ही गोल के साथ, अपनी सिटी का चैंपियन बनना। पार्टिसिपेशन क्राइटेरिया पिछले सीजन जैसा ही रहेगा। अगर कोई टीम अपने पहले अटेम्प्ट में क्वालिफाई नहीं कर पाती, तो वो किसी दूसरे हफ्ते के क्वालिफायर्स में फिर से हिस्सा ले सकती है। सिटी क्वालिफायर्स फेज के आखिर में हर सिटी से एक चैंपियन टीम अगले स्टेज में जाएगी, यानी कुल 12 टीम्स। तेज FFMIC 2026 फॉल के लिए क्वालिफाई करने का सिर्फ यही तरीका नहीं है। इन गेम FFC मोड 5 जुलाई को वापस आएगा। जो भी टीम्स क्राइटेरिया पूरा करेंगी, वो इन गेम FFC क्वालिफायर्स में हिस्सा ले सकेंगी। इस बार कुल 66 टीम्स FFC क्वालिफायर्स से क्वालिफाई करेंगी और सिटी क्वालिफायर विनर्स के साथ अगले स्टेज में जाएंगी। जी हाँ, इस सीजन FFC क्वालिफायर्स के लिए 28 एक्स्ट्रा स्लॉट्स जोड़े गए हैं। 12 सिटी क्वालिफायर विनर्स और FFC क्वालिफायर्स से आई 66 टीम्स अब नए प्लेन स्टेज में जाएंगी। इन 78 टीम्स के साथ तेज FFMIC 2026 स्प्रिंग में 7th to 12th प्लेस पर रहने वाली टीम्स भी जुड़ेंगी, जिससे कुल 84 टीम्स बनेंगी। प्लेन स्टेज एक हफ्ते तक चलेगा और 20 से 26 जुलाई तक फ्री फायर मैक्स Esports इंडिया के ऑफिशियल YouTube चैनल पर लाइव ब्रॉडकास्ट होगा। 84 टीम्स को 12-12 टीम्स वाले 7 ग्रुप्स में बांटा जाएगा। प्लेन्स के अंत में हर ग्रुप की सिर्फ टॉप 6 टीम्स आगे बढ़ेंगी, यानी कुल 42 टीम्स ग्रुप स्टेज में जाएंगी। तेज FFMIC 2026 स्प्रिंग फाइनल्स की टॉप 6 टीम्स सीधे ग्रुप स्टेज में एंटर करेंगी, जिससे कुल 48 टीम्स बनेगी। ये स्टेज पिछले सीजन जैसा ही रहेगा, जहां हर रिजल्ट फाइनल राउंड्स की रेस को शेप देगा। सिर्फ सबसे मजबूत और कंसिस्टेंट टीम्स ही सर्वाइव कर पाएंगी और चैंपियनशिप होप्स जिंदा रखेंगी। 48 टीम्स को वीक 1 के लिए 12-12 टीम्स वाले 4 ग्रुप्स में बांटा जाएगा। 6 से 9 अगस्त तक हर ग्रुप कुल 6 गेम्स खेलेगा और हर ग्रुप की टॉप 9 टीम्स ग्रुप स्टेज वीक 2 में जाएंगी, जो 14 से 16 अगस्त तक चलेगा। वीक 2 में पहुंची 36 टीम्स को शफल करके 3 ग्रुप्स में बांटा जाएगा। अब स्टेक्स और भी ऊंचे होंगे, क्योंकि हर ग्रुप की सिर्फ टॉप 6 टीम्स अगले स्टेज नॉकआउट स्टेज में जाएंगी। अब गलतियों की गुंजाइश बहुत कम होगी, वापसी के मौके कम होंगे और हर मैच के असली कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस होंगे। 18 एलीट टीम्स नॉकआउट स्टेज वीक 1 में राउंड रॉबिन फॉर्मेट में भिड़ेंगी 28 से 30 अगस्त तक। वीक 1 की टॉप 12 टीम्स वीक 2 डे 1 4 सितंबर को खेलेंगी। डे 1 के आखिर में टॉप 2 टीम्स सीधे ग्रैंड फाइनल्स के लिए क्वालिफाई करेंगी। बाकी 10 टीम्स 5 सितंबर को डे 2 खेलेंगी और उनके साथ वीक 1 की #13 और #14 टीम्स जुड़ेंगी। 6 इंटेंस गेम्स के बाद डे 2 की टॉप 2 टीम्स भी सीधे ग्रैंड फाइनल्स में जाएंगी। बाकी 10 टीम्स फिर से 6 सितंबर को डे 3 पर खेलेंगी और उनके साथ वीक 1 की #15 और #16 टीम्स जुड़ेंगी। एक बार फिर डे 3 की टॉप 2 टीम्स ग्रैंड फाइनल्स में क्वालिफाई करेंगी। लेकिन बाकी टीम्स की जर्नी अभी खत्म नहीं होगी। नॉकआउट स्टेज वीक 3 ग्रैंड फाइनल्स क्वालिफाई करने का आखिरी मौका होगा। वीक 2 डे 3 की बची हुई 10 टीम्स के साथ वीक 1 की #17 और #18 टीम्स जुड़ेंगी। 11 सितंबर से 12 टीम्स 3 दिनों तक फाइट करेंगी और सिर्फ टॉप 6 टीम्स ग्रैंड फाइनल्स में जाएंगी, उन 6 टीम्स के साथ जो पहले ही क्वालिफाई कर चुकी हैं। ग्रैंड फाइनल्स 2 दिनों तक होंगे। डेट्स और वेन्यू बाद में अनाउंस किए जाएंगे। ग्रैंड फाइनल्स डे 1 पॉइंट रश फॉर्मेट में खेला जाएगा। टीम्स को पॉइंट्स बिल्ड करने होंगे, प्रेशर में सरवाइव करना होगा और सही समय पर परफॉर्म करना होगा। 12 टीम्स कुल 6 गेम्स खेलेंगी और टॉप 6 टीम्स डे 2 ग्रैंड फाइनल्स के लिए हेड स्टार्ट पॉइंट्स अर्न करेंगी। जो टीम पहले 90 पॉइंट्स तक पहुंचेगी उसके लिए चैंपियन रश एक्टिवेट हो जाएगा और चैंपियन रश एक्टिवेट होने के बाद जो टीम सबसे पहले बूया करेगी वही तेज FFMIC 2026 फॉल की चैंपियन बनेगी और ट्रॉफी उठाएगी। ज्यादा सिटीज, ज्यादा क्वालिफिकेशन चांसेस और ज्यादा अपॉर्चुनिटीज के साथ कोई भी चैलेंज स्वीकार कर सकता है, लेकिन आखिर में सिर्फ एक टीम अपनी लेगेसी फोर्ज करेगी और तेज फ्री फायर मैक्स इंडिया कप 2026 फॉल की चैंपियन कहलाएगी।
Hello and welcome to TEZ FFMIC 2026 Fall. My name is Oro. Joining me for the first 3 games is Arka as Group F takes the center stage today. You know, with amazing 12 set of teams joining in, and only 6 will be able to qualify to the next stage. As we move closer and closer in finding those 42 teams for the group stages, you know, what are your early thoughts, Arka, before we head on to action?
Unpredictability of the lobby is the only thought which is coming in my head, because in this tournament especially we are able to see that there is no strong teams when it comes to T1s and there are no weak ones when it comes to the underdogs. So either ways it's like a to and fro crunch which we keep seeing. All of a sudden we see that either of them come under pressure and they don't get qualified. So an unpredictable lobby for sure this is going to be, with so many T1 teams joining in, and let's not forget some really good city qualifier teams as well.
Yeah, you know, to give a recap, you know, what has happened in the previous 5 days, to be honest, we have seen some amazing set of teams. You know, some have qualified, some could not qualify, some big names missing out, you know, in the name of Arise Esports, where they were the very first teams to you know, activate Champion Rush in only 3 games the last time they played the grand final, which was TEZ FFMIC 2026 Spring. You know, this will for sure happen. A lot more surprises are going to unfold. The last time when we saw somebody with the name Fire Eyes, they ended up on the EWC grand final. final stage, and they are again back with another different set of 4 players, and they're performing. They've already qualified. Let's have a look at the format while we are talking about and giving you that recap about how the planes have shaped up today.
Yeah, absolutely. Planes, we are almost coming to the end of it. Today is the 25th, and that's where we stand with 78 qualified teams and 6. The bottom table of the grand finals of the previous FFMIC joined them to make it a total of 84, who were later divided into 7 groups with 12 teams each. They are duking it out to make sure from each group we're going to have 6 teams moving forward. That is almost 42 teams will make it into the group stages.
Yeah, in the group stages, they will be joined by 6 invited teams, the top 6 teams from TEZ FFMIC 2026 spring, which will mean that 48 teams will start group stages. From there, we will only see 18 teams in the knockout stages, and that's where things become much more interesting. But that's for later, Arka. This is the planes where we already have seen 5 days, 5 different groups performing. Today is the day for Group F, and amazing 12 teams again land in the center where they will be peppered, they will be tested, and whoever shows character will end up in the top 6.
Yeah, absolutely. What are they fighting for? They're fighting for the big prize pool of 1 crore rupees, where the champions are going to walk away with the biggest chunk of 35 lakhs. And let's not forget, after which only half of what the champions have achieved will be given to the second place, and then make it another half of the previous one. The third place walks away with 7, and the number dwindles down. But the best part is, if you're in the top 18, you get at least 77,500.
Yep, and also for the knockout stages, the teams were qualifying there, Arka. Just like the last time, TEZ FFMIC 2026 spring. In the knockout stages, if you are the top performer of the day, you are able to win 10,000 Indian rupees. So that's some extra cash that you are going to get a chance to do that. So definitely that's something very interesting to look at. But again, that will happen in the later stages. Right now, we are in the playing stage, and we end up towards the point system. This is a universal system where each elimination is rewarded with 1 point, and if you get a booyah, you get 12 points. But it's the balance, right? If you are able to manage it, the amount of elimination, and also with the survival game kicking in, you are mostly able to make it towards that top 6 position, Arka.
Yeah, tiebreaker, number of booyahs first, and then the number of eliminations, and then after which your latest result. But we all know, after this was introduced, or this scenario was introduced, that is when things started to get interesting. That is 1 unique active skill per person. That is, each of these players should make sure that they have a different active skill than their teammates, making a proper combination and permutation between the teams to make sure that they have the perfect synergy to make it into the next rounds.
Yeah, I mean, since you are already talking about synergy, here are the teams who have to work it out today. If the synergy is not there, definitely there's going to be a bigger issue, right? Because they will not be able to make it to the group stages. We start off with VASIYO Esports. That's the invited team. They were the first team to qualify in the grand finals last time in TEZ FFMIC 2026 spring. Then we have Esports Arka, the city qualifier team from Bhubaneswar. Then all are from the FFC mode, right? So amazing set of teams, as I already mentioned it previously. Now let's have a look at their lineup.
Yeah, this is where some familiar faces come out. Arup, Shubho, Zap, Yono, Insane, all of these lads. You already know them really well. And then comes the RM, right? These are the city qualifier teams, even though they're new to the circuit. When we consider city qualifiers to be the first step of success, from there on, we'll be seeing them perform much more better. Apart from that, there are some really well-known names. I'm sure that the stat will go bonkers once they read their names out there. And there it comes on our screen from several other teams. Where is he? The star player. That is Radhe Thakur.
Yeah, but look at his position. He is right now the substitute player or the substitute man for Gravity Esports. I don't know at what capacity he has joined in this team, because we definitely got the chance to see some practice games from TEZ FFMIC 2026 fall. The planes, of course, Gravity Esports looks like in a better shape right now, with Dave being the IGL. So this is going to be interesting to look at, right? When we are going to jump in towards the game. Now, we also saw that in VASIYO Esports, Insane is a sub. He used to be the IGL. So that is also a shock for me that, the IGLs have changed and teams are working around their composition. As you mentioned, the word for the day is probably going to be synergy.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's also the trust, how much they're going to show with each other. Yeah. Yesterday, we did see that NG Pro set a good example when they had a loose cannon in the name of I do believe it was Gopu who just was randomly rushing in against all the opponents. He had the trust of his teammates, and that's the kind of confidence he gained out of it. So hopefully we'll be able to see some similar scenarios take place out here today.
Yeah, the last time when you say someone as a loose cannon, he ended up getting 28 elimination. He was the top fragger of the team and definitely with the top fragger of the day. But let's have a look at our top 3 predictions, because this is the first match we are going to land up on, and we have ended up having the same equation, right? Arkab, did you copy? Tell me.
I did not copy, but rather I just randomly went in and clicked 3 names, to be frank, because I knew that all of my predictions will just go down the drain. Every team is actually capable of getting into the top 3, and that's how strong the lobby looks. But I'm going with the fan favorites, right? You got VASIYO at the top, and the map schedule. This is where things get interesting. The first map is going to be the map of Solara.
Yeah, Solara, we have always witnessed it to be high fragging. The numbers are huge, and imagine Solara and NEXUS being the first 2 maps, which are, considered to be the most aggressive games or the aggressive maps, Arka. And, by the look of what we have today, the set of teams, definitely this is going to be interesting to look at. Now comes the preferred drop spots for Solara. TV Tower looks clustered with 3 teams, Cruel, REDWINND, and Gravity. And I'm not quite sure about that. Why Casa Vista is left open, Aquarium is left open, and also Studio. These are some drop spots where usually on Solara, fights happen. And also for a fact that Riders Club is also empty.
I don't think so. This is going to be the case, man, because your Studio, Bayside, Casa Vista, all of these regions where teams tend to go and get some really good loot. I do believe that there might be a 3v1 split, which we can see, and probably those 3 players trying to go and get those early eliminations is going to force us to see a preferred drop spot like that. And also we have seen that, right? It's just a mind game. Show a preferred drop spot somewhere else so that your enemies get prepared, and then you come in from a different angle and be unpredictable.
Yeah, and we only have 10 seconds left on the clock before we jump onto the first map of Solara. You guys can go ahead and give your 2 cents on who those top 3 teams are going to be in today's first map. This is going to be interesting to look at because, usually in the first game you are very confident or either start a little jittery, and I don't want any team to feel that way, right? And here we go, Solara, the flight path is up and running, Arka, and let's see how things are going to turn out for all these teams.
Oh, it's going to turn out pretty awesome because the flight path starting all the way from Windmill, ending towards the Studio region. This means dissecting the map, allowing every other team to go to their respective drop location. But Delta IL, look at that, the cluster we see on the eastern side of the map. Things get interesting. And TV Tower as well. We see 2 teams already clashing it out.
I mean, Delta Isle, not 1, not 2. 3 teams are there in the vicinity. Probably, we can see a third party coming in from REDWINND later on. But wait, look at Headshot. He jumps down. He had a mini Uzi, and he already took 1 member down. Steven, he was the 5th player from Fire Eyes. He did not, or rather, he never got that opportunity to play. But this time, he is the IGL. He has a responsibility. Let's see how Schoolboy shape up.
Yeah. TRI for now in front of our screens, trying to play it a little bit safer. They did go for that initial fight, realized that it's a 4v2 situation. We need to fall back. Tried to strike only when the iron is hot. Steven, who comes out in the open, starts to get punished a little bit. Peppered around. Ron misses a lot of shots with his car. Yurovich, that gives them a breathing space. Hedgie on the other side, after losing a player, going for a revival, but in return, loses another player altogether.
Yeah, now we are here towards TV Tower where VASIYO Esports, they are clashing against TRINETRA, and Ron gets taken out. It was Headshot who now converts into an elimination. VASIYO Esports, they have a good start, but wait, Arup finds himself in a spot of bother, but he managed to take that player down who was chasing him. Addy, he immediately revives him, but it's still Arup fighting against the rest 3 members from Schoolboys, and it's making things difficult for him. TV Tower, it's where Schoolboys have reigned their forces.
I just can't believe what happened out here. Yep, on the other side, RBZs, they're trying to play it safe. Shah gets taken down early. The retaliation comes in from Akhil. Akhil Jr., he's got that insurance policy as well, just in case things don't go well. He's just going to scoot away from this position. A good approach to this fight. The Thiva goes in for a quick revival, and that allows the team to regroup again. RULEBREAKERZ need to be careful because the opponents have still not lost the vicinity.
They haven't. And here comes Akhil. He finds one more elimination for his team. RULEBREAKERZ, it's a good start for them. And LXP Esports, right now, God, he's alone. Nakul, even though he's brought back into the lobby, but God, he would just hope that he picks one player. Nope, he won't be able to. Or he won't be allowed to. Another elimination for RULEBREAKERZ. But on top, already a player from FX Elite, Arca. So a third party has quickly come around.
Yeah, third party, FX Elite are interested, but he gets taken down. Shake, he was expecting somebody to come in from the skies. The high ground advantage is not going in their favor. And all of a sudden, RULEBREAKERZ, look at the way they're rushing in after putting down a player. They see Rudra's position. Now they'll have to make sure they come in from a different angle. They're approaching from two different fronts. Rudra gets taken down, and that means Piyush will have to tuck his tails and run away from this position because he needs to revive my friend.
Akhil immediately gets the revive, but FX Elite, the last member was Piyush, and he has obviously removed himself from this situation because he needs the other members to be brought back. So responsibility onto his hands. RM Esports, of course, the team who was qualified from the city qualifiers, hosted in Bhubaneswar, already have 2 eliminations. They're fighting against a team which is cruel. But how cruel they are going to be right now is the question. Piyush, they are holding on the broken wall. And immediately the chrono shield being activated, and Flames pretty well managed that situation. The dash comes in, but Nuclear and the other team members, they've handled the situation well, right? And they have, they are now at this moment going to create advantage and convert those knockouts into elimination, which will give them the points.
Absolutely, RM. What a phenomenal gameplay, especially one man taking down 4 players initially. VASIYO on the receiving end of things. Shubho gets taken down. Yono is being chased after. He uses that chrono shield for now. He's got to jiggle around, lands that shot perfectly. We'll be getting that confirmation as well. This could be the second elimination, but they are in a bit of a trouble as he again gets chased after by another player. Oh, before he could put up the glue wall, he gets connected.
Arup, the last man standing from his team. Not the ideal way for VASIYO Esports to start, knowing the fact that they are the invited ones, Arca, right? And VASIYO, he is the mentor of this team, and that's why the name, right, Arca? And we know what kind of a potential and what kind of a combination he can create. But right now, it is NEXUS Thunder chasing on to a player from REDWINND, and he's alone. And Mars, how will he survive is the question. He puts in some glue walls, trying to run away, but he will not be able to. And he gets picked off by Arceus. He will find his first elimination point.
Next Thunder comes in closer, gets taken down, and that's another elimination for LXP. But the way this team is playing is phenomenal. Artist from an off angle, missing a lot of shots. The second one, even before it connects, a glue wall comes up. He's still trying to shoot through it. He's not finding any of those shots getting connected. Nakul realizes it's going to be pushed upon. Artist gets in closer with the VSS, searching from an angle from where he can land the shot. Finally cooks up a grenade towards that vehicle. A good toss, to be frank. He's going to do a bit of damage, and a shot connects well. And with that, gets that elimination. The persistence from this artist will be rewarded with at least 1 point.
The nade and the VSK combination worked for him. And if he looks a little high in the air, he would definitely spot some players landing. He is right now in a position where he's repositioning. He was obviously into that stealth bite. Got Cruz and Hell, the team right now, Hell Guardians. They are in a position where they're not surrounded by teams for now, but REDWINND, they are for sure surrounded. And they're surrounded by Cruel. REDWINND, they have managed to secure 5 elimination points, but look at their positioning right now. They are literally I'm sure they would have heard about the players who were closing in. That was Piyush Veer. But where is the sniper? That's where the shot landed. And if they're not able to find out that player, that's going to be a little problematic for them. And look at Piyush and Veer. They're already closed up the distance. Mail's already been taken out. Tarun not able to counter there. And he also falls. Not the ideal start REDWINND would have wanted in this fight.
Oh, Irfan also gets taken down, but has he revived a player? It seems like he has, and REDWINND, they live another day to tell a tale altogether. Aryan, for now, from that of Cruel, is trying to do his best to find some players around. He sees, he listens to a vehicle approaching, and now he realizes that there's another team coming up. Oh, before he could use the tactical market, he gets shotted from an off angle. And this could be the beginning of the end for Cruel, just in case. They're looking forward to take this fight. A quick revival as well, making it even Steven.
Hell Guardian, they're not done with Cruel, Piyush and Veer, who were the one who had that opening for Cruel against Redwind. They're falling back. Anshu has already left the compound using those rail tracks to, traverse quickly. Got Cruz by the time he comes in. I think Piyush will land safely. Yeah. Wait, what? In the meanwhile, we saw Nexus getting eliminated completely. I mean, that's a little bit of a shocker that, we have already spent... I will probably want to rephrase that. We have spent 8 minutes and we've only seen 2 teams getting eliminated. But we never were able to see where that happened. But wait, this is Hell Guardians. They're using the rail tracks to travel back and forth, but not finding the ideal opening.
Absolutely. But good to see that VASIYO Esports are all back and kicking, because all 4 players are back. They've got 6 early eliminations from this position. They'll have to make sure that the experience come into play. Nonetheless, you spoke about HG. Seems like they're still interested to take fights. Cruz he's got that AC-80, but he gets taken out because of a grenade launcher. The confirmation comes through. RBZ are playing it like a well-oiled unit. They're pushing in together. Look at that Shake trying to go forward. And he's got that electrotherapy always connected. And this time Zeus, the god himself, is running away.
Yeah, 9 eliminations already. And they're moving ahead. And they're not stopping. Look at the positionings, right? And at this very moment, Hell Guardians got Zeus. He's literally sandwiched and he gets eliminated eventually. But that was Cruel Piyush. Now, Piyush already has 6 elimination and the information is passed on towards RULEBREAKERZ, and probably they would want to take this fight as well because they also have a good opening, right, Arka?
Absolutely, but look at what they do. Immediately put up a binoculars, but Shake is being overconfident because he doesn't know who is approaching. Another glue wall comes up, but he's way too close and personal. He gets taken out. Oh my god, what a retaliation coming in. 2 players gets taken down, even Steven. There's a revival which comes through from that of RB. They need to make sure they're pushing right now because Cruel, this is the weakest you can find them. The revivals are coming through. The Thiva is working out. Shock and Sheik, both of them are coming in closer. Rudra from a distance puts the man down, and that means RBZs are in deep trouble.
They're in very, very big trouble as they get eliminated. But they have to look around because this is the edge of the circle and we are literally towards the very end moments of this game, right, Arka? And RM, they're surrounding them. RM, they have the higher ground, but they don't have the circle positioning. So if they're managing themselves to get back, and if they get back on their feet quickly, which they have managed to, Cruel can create a lot of problems for RM. But REDWINND is also in the vicinity. So there might be a 3-way Mexican standoff, which just, is about to start, Arka.
Absolutely. They put up a UAV in the air, and that's how you get to know where the players are. Irfan, he comes and rejoins, but he needs to be careful. Look at what Godzeus is doing. Cruz as well. Both of them just land in fresh, and they don't have too much of utilities to deal with, but they're waiting for the right time to strike. They need to be careful. What a beautiful grenade, and Rudra's sniper connects. Irfan gets taken down. Immediately gets that confirmation. Even though it's stolen, Cruel are just living up to their name.
Told you. It will be RM who will create those problems, but they are not inside the circle right now. And Hell Guardians have also managed themselves to join hands in this situation, which is just making the southern end or the southwestern end of this circle a little difficult. Whoever comes out of this area will probably not stand with 4 members, except for Cruel, who does have that compound, and they're firing all cylinders, and Hell Guardians are in no situation to defend themselves because they have an M249. And look at Piyush, he's already broken 8 glue walls and he already has 6 elimination. He's looking for more, Arka.
Yeah, I forgot, he's gonna bleed out eventually, but sadly his teammates are right above Cruel. They can't do anything. They don't have a vending machine. Even though vending machine is up for grabs, they'll have to fight it out. I forgot, he shows himself so that he can just be put out of misery. The present vending machine is in control of RW, and that makes things so much more interesting.
This fight is not over yet. Cruel. They're fighting against RW, which is REDWINND, KINETX. All the 4 members, I mean,
Oh, God,
right now
Zeus.
it's 3 artists, Tarun. They have to run away from this situation. So many freeze nades being used, and Rudra, he finds someone from FX Elite. So there's another fight happening, and look at the circle, Arka. It has moved away from all these teams, and it has shifted towards schoolboys who are just waiting and would be licking their mouth right now, because there are so many teams surviving. So probably good elimination points for them.
Oh, Cruel just doesn't complete a squad above them, and that means they can get revived. HG, all they have to do is jump down from that building, get their teammates rest up, and I'm 100% sure they'll be looking forward for it. Cruel prioritizing the circle, get a very good corner, and now they can gatekeep anybody trying to make through. VASIYO on the other side, we're doing well for themselves, but SB, they come in to ruin the plans of Cruel.
They are schoolboys, they are definitely putting in the work, right? And you always get rewarded, and the results will come out in few seconds or few minutes, right? But VASIYO Esports, they have climbed up on the roof, and this is probably going to be a little difficult to deal with, but they definitely are going to find out RM Rudra, who's out in the open, and he finally gets eliminated by Aroop's Groza. And with that, RM is eliminated in the 8th position. Now, schoolboys are in for a lot of trouble, Arka. How will they defend this? Because, they're already being crunched by another team from the other end, which is Cruel, right?
Oh, HG, finally the revivals come through. And now we've got all 4 players from this team who can now make it inside the circle. It's got to be hard as Zeus puts 1 player down. It's a favor returned. Cruel on the other side showcasing a bit of a resilience, but they get taken down. Arup on the other side is taking down Cruel. A beautiful grenade, a follow-up grenade comes through.
God.
More player gets landed. 1 more, and that could be the end of the story for Cruel.
But schoolboys, they're not done yet. This looks like a sandwich situation for VASIYO Esports. If both these teams decide to fire all cylinders onto VASIYO Esports right now, they are the one who are creating problems for REDWINND, KINETX. And Zap is the one who finds value. Tarun gets taken down and he's eliminated. But Arup gets immediately traded. But he will for sure get that revive back. Tiva is there. But schoolboys, how are they planning to rotate into this circle? Because they have to deal with FX Elite as well. And the meanwhile, REDWINND gets eliminated, Arka.
REDWINND out of it. VASIYO, if they have a launcher for themselves, they can just fly away. Sadly, Shubo gets taken down, but an immediate raid comes through. Yono comes for his rescue. You see that players are getting knocked out because of the zone, and PE, they take advantage of it. VASIYO, they come in closer. They're starting to sweep the floor. They've got 13 eliminations already, and they'll have to deal with just 1 lost schoolboy. And they're interested to know where this last player is. Eventually, he also gets cleared off, and this is how you bring experience into play.
FX Elite, they could have done much more damage, but they're only left out with 2 players right now. Shubo is close in the distance. And where is LXP? They are right in top. And now they are going to pepper VASIYO Esports. Goodness, but Arup, he still manages to find King. Nakul did manage to trade off, so there's 1 for 1. Immediately the UAV goes out, so there's going to be help for VASIYO Esports. The start may not have been that great for VASIYO Esports, but the end of this circle, they want it to be very, very strong, but they have to deal with 2 teams simultaneously. But they're looking to push onto LXP for sure. But look at God. He has that M590 in his hand. He can dash in if he wants to, but what's the perfect timing? What is he looking for right now?
Oh, he's looking for an opening, and it seems like he might get it out here as Zap somehow survives it. VASIYO Esports yet again become a full man squad with 1 player knocked out, immediately revived. Now the push is going to be inevitable. LXP, they have got the divided attention. VASIYO slowly weaving their way into the next circle. This is how you play the game, a smart way. As the push comes in, one of the players gets taken down. Deep troubles for VASIYO this time around. Arup also gets taken down, and LXP put an end for this entire squad. And now FX versus them. This could be the beginning of the end.
Oh no, as expected, it was 2 teams sandwiching VASIYO Esports. Now they are done for. It is FX Elite, as you mentioned, Arka. It's a 2v4 situation for them. God has already closed in the distance. Look at Nakul. He has a sniper in his hand. He's waiting with that ACAT. Some freeze grenades being thrown. But do they have the resources? Do they have them? No, they won't. Nakul finally finds that headshot. The last man surviving for FX Elite. That is Avijit. Then he's running away, running for his life, and he won't be allowed. And that's God who smashes his head with that M590. And LXP Esports are the one who find the first booyah in the map of Solar Arca.
The team which we did not expect to walk away with a booyah now gets one in the name with 17 eliminations. Mere domination in the final circle. Execution to perfection. That's what this team had. Hey man, they've already got God by their side, so you can expect them to do well.
Yeah, they did absolutely amazing, right? You know, they had the timing correct. They knew that VASIYO Esports would be looking to go inside the circle, probably prioritize the circle, but they did not find the correct timing. They forgot about LXP. You know, the information was not there towards VASIYO Esports, and they utilized it to an advantage where they knew that there's a team holding in the compound, which was FX Elite. So they never wanted to approach the compound as well. And they were the last point of contact in that fight against VASIYO Esports, and they managed to win that fight as well, where FX Elite did manage to put in a third party. You will see it as we see the last shot. This was Cruel and REDWINND fighting, but here is the point where I'm talking about. Look at coldzera with that charge buster. He gets two, but it was one member from FX Elite. I think that was Piyush who got one opening for them, and I think he created some problem, and then it was all LXP all the way, where, you know, God is the most valuable player who, you know, did manage to get 7 elimination point, Arca.
As I said, God by their side with an enhanced hammer for the M590. All they have to do was giving that space. The Drakey, which reveals the weakest in the opponents who are trying to heal, and he pounds upon them. He's got the deadly Oscar to dash in. He's got the Nikita for the quick reload. J-Beeps just in case he wants to move in more quicker. And then he's got the Joseph to get that extra damage dealing capability. So a perfect combination for a frontline assaulter.
Yeah, and here are the team statistics, and you know, there's all basic setups coming in. If you look at coldzera, he had Chrono, he had the Thiva, so of course his rushing gameplay was looking so strong, where he found those two openings. Then LXP King onto that A124, and then comes Knuckle, right, with the sniper. You know, that's a very standard setup right now with that Morse and Raphael, and also there is Maro, and I think that's something which usually the snipers are going in with Raphael and Morse being there. So his repositionings were very crucial, right, and which he gave in, and also managed to pull in 6 eliminations along the way.
4,384 damage. Knuckle the sniper, just showing us how dreadful a sniper can be in the lobby. King on the other side being the grenadier. The best part is he had got that A124, right? So in that fight with VASIYO at the close range, he just nullified everything else for the opponents, and ultimately God was able to do the deed. Game standings, ladies and gentlemen, we look at the team who walks away with the booyah with 29 points in a single game. VASIYO, the valiant effort in the final circle rewards them with just 22 with 14 eliminations. Cruel on the other side, they've got 18 with Schoolboys matching them, all thanks to their placement points.
Yeah, you know, this does not look like a pretty top heavy. I mean, all the teams have managed to pull in some amount of points. I mean,
yeah,
till the 8th position, teams are in double digits. That just says so much about the lobby that, you know, we are up for a very close battle, right? And we are left out with 5 games, and I cannot even wait that who those 6 teams are going to be at the end of the day. But for that, I think that's going to be Crips and Lucifer who's going to lay out the information. But circle analysis comes in front, Arca.
I mean, we all know what happened in the final circle. I just want to know which among these teams actually rotated the most. It seems like all these teams had a fair share of rotation. VASIYO especially, all they did was try to go towards the northern side, and then they had a huge split, which I really thought is going to backfire. But ultimately, once they made it to Archway, they held on to that position. This is where FX, they dare to get into Archway, take that fight early on, and make sure that they clear off one corner of the circle, from after which they tried to survive for the longest time possible. When nobody was looking at LXP, all they did was just execute one fight after another. Look at them, pouncing upon the most strongest team, and then weaklings. They were just cake for the eating.
You know, I mean, in all this, we saw Schoolboys there, right? They were there. They were holding the position. They were having... I think they had the advantage, but they were not prepared for some team climbing up the rooftop, which VASIYO Esports did. And then the problem started for them. They were not able to win the 1v1s. And we all know that how VASIYO Esports and how the players are mechanically gifted in those close range, scenario where Arup and the players, did manage to win it. But let's talk about the next map, which is coming right up, and our prediction congratulations are here. I am happy that you have not copied this time and we have some different opinion about the top 3. But you guys can also do it while we are talking about our top 3.
No, the best part is I am the first one who picked up the predictions, and apparently
Okay.
I copy from you.
Okay, you can say whatever you want. But that's okay.
People watching back home know that who's been really good at predictions. So let's see throughout this tournament who gets the maximum of them all. But ultimately, the 3 of our predictions kind of inclining towards the team which has performed well in the previous game. So hopefully we'll be able to see them perform well yet again. But I'm kind of shocked to see that VASIYO was taken down so quickly in a fight like that, because I was expecting them to retaliate. For some reason, Zap goes away from his teammates, and that is when VASIYO starts to fumble.
Yeah, I mean, we have to talk about how Insane has gone out and Zap has been included. Zap was brought into the team because Ninja has left, right? So Ninja was the sniper. Now Zap is the sniper, so they have to play Zap. They cannot go around with 4 assaulters or 4 rushers, because Insane does not give you that, comfort of being a sniper. He is the IGL and he is also a rusher, but that's the composition they wanted to go ahead with. And right now, it panned out well. I don't want to complain too much, because VASIYO Esports ended up with good amount of points. They were there at the 2nd position. And here are the preferred drop spots, which we have to talk about as well. Deca Square looks like Schoolboys have some company by Hell Guardians, and Boxing Gym as well, where RM and REDWIND probably would want to share it or rather fight it.
I strongly feel like now teams are not going to look forward for those early skirmish, because there are so many things in hand. Because we have seen, right, previously we saw that teams did get wounded initially. The confidence went down. They couldn't survive until the end. So probably this time around, I'm expecting the same kind of result. Hopefully, the teams thinks otherwise, because that entertainment is what me and the fans out there are looking out for. For all the survivors who are watching back home, make sure that you let us know the predictions for the upcoming game. Which team will walk away with the highest number of eliminations? Because ultimately, we are playing the map of NEXUS.
Coming up is NEXUS in just 2 seconds in front of your screens, where again we'll jump and see that if Arca is proven to be true, because he said that teams won't be looking for early skirmishes, but I still feel that teams will head on to fight more, because if we look at the standing after the first game, there are so many teams sitting at 2 digits, and that's a lot of concerning situation for so many teams, because everybody wants to end up in top 6, and Intellect Center is left out to be empty. Wait, no, it's not empty. It is RULEBREAKERZ who finally decide that we are not going to fight with RM, and RM has taken Twin Bridge.
Look at that. No initial skirmishes apart from Artist trying to be a little bit consistent in his aggression, but I don't think so it's going to be easy for them. Apart from that, I don't see any other players having the first point of contact. HG and NEX somewhere close to one another, with SB at the southern side of Deca Square. Probably that is where we'll see the first team to take a clash with one another. VASIYO have also got an uninvited guest.
The Deca Square right now is up for grabs. There are 3 teams who are landing in that spot. Hell Guardian, there's Schoolboys, and of course Schoolboys have...
Oh no.
Oh wait, this is God we're looking at right now. VASIYO Esports. Last time we saw VASIYO Esports, they were again fighting against a team, and this time around again, LXP, they have found company, and that too for the likes of VASIYO Esports. God, just hope, we should hope for him that he wins the 1v1, but it's against Shumo, and that too with a double vector Arca. This is not looking good for God.
Oh,
Shumo gets traded. Oh, that was coldzera with that AC-80 from the long range.
It was a trap, my friend, because God knew that if he stays near the window and creates that angle for the opponents, they'll be eventually coming and walking into his trap. VASIYO Esports, with all that experience and making that silly mistake, kind of shocked to see how come, they did not get that confirmation as well. Headshot immediately tries to look up in the air to get in confirmation. Whereas the opponents, they've been saved. God Cruz puts 80 down, gets that confirmation immediately.
Hell Guardians and Schoolboys are fighting in Deca Square, and already in the vicinity we see NEXUS and also TRINETRA, who are fighting. I mean, they're fighting their own battle, Arca. I mean, I thought that they will be probably looking to third party, but they're also fighting against each other. But God's this. If he looks to push this situation, this is not looking good. Wait, Headshot was having a different angle, but God used. He looks back, immediately uses his Macton and immediately eliminates him. Wow, that was some reflex, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's got his teammates right around his shoulder. So obviously could have taken that risk. And with that, a bit of a confidence boost for the Guardians as they try to push in against another player. It's got to be Nexus, who's not been tagged that much. I don't know how come the shots are missing. This time around, Zeus says, I am the god of thunder, as he puts one player down, gets that confirmation immediately. 3 goes in the name of HG.
The southern end looks messy, Arka. I mean, we started things in Plazaria where VASIYO Esports was fighting. Now VASIYO Esports are again moving from Grave Labs, and they're coming in towards this very position, towards the outskirts of Deca Square. But this is Gravity Esports. They're fighting against FX Elite. They did have a good match in the last game, but Gravity Esports, they got pretty, eliminated pretty early. And players are moving out right in the open. I'm sure Gravity Esports, the player who was in the rooftop, he would have passed on the information. There is another team in the vicinity.
What?
But we are looking at Hell Guardians again. We come back to Deca Square where there's a fight happening, and Hell Guardians, God Zeus, he managed to bring back 2 players. Again, Bolthire gets taken down as well.
God Zeus will be like, how many times will you guys get knocked out? I've been near this vending machine. I had no time to fight. Nonetheless, Gods, he gets in closer. Sees Addy, again gets taken down. And Gravity Esports this time around need to be careful. VASIYO plays a little bit safer. Abjit has got that off angle. And now realize that he can't take this fight alone. He falls back to see if the opponents make a mistake. Yes, they do come out in the open. Anuj plays it a little more clever. He needs to revive Rudra immediately. Abjit, he gives that space to the opponents who just revived, and now they want to fall back. Oh, what a shot from Abjit. The reflexes were on top, and eventually the retaliation was also perfect.
But it was Dave with that VSK who managed to find Avijit there. But it was always difficult for Avijit, right, Arka, because he was alone. The rest of the members from FX Elite was away. Probably he was there to create some headaches. He did manage to create, but not successful. VASIYO Esports, they lose out Zap. The sniper player is out of the picture right now. Immediately brought back by Shubho. But VASIYO Esports, they have to take a fall back. But wait, where they're fighting right now and where they're headed to, there's a fight happening between TRINETRA and Hell Guardians. And God Zeus, this battle is not over yet. The fight of Deca Square is still on, Arka. How long will it take to empty Deca Square?
I don't think so. It's got to be easy. Hell Guardians, they've held this vending machine for a long time now. They know that as long as they have that under control, they can take all the risks possible. Look at that. Bolt ties. He gets taken down from a distance. Nice grenade comes in. TRI, TRINETRA. They're trying to come in over here. This could be a little bit of a trouble, but at the nth moment, he falls back to come in from a different angle altogether. Ron, with that treatment gun, is able to give the right kind of backup. Oh my god, if that connected, it would have been a treat to the eyes.
Yeah, and he was being ambitious over there. Ron, he has a vending machine, and that is why the fight is, getting prolonged for so long, right? Because of that vending machine. It was Hell Guardian Zeus, right, who managed to pull his teammates back quite a few times, and Zeus is not over yet. This time it is Erzin and Ron who are fighting against God Zeus. Bolthai is again in the compound, in the main compound of Deca Square. I'm quite surprised that VASIYO Esports are in the vicinity, and again they're fighting against another team, that is REDWINND, and they have not ended up here doing a third party. But Erzin, he's rushing, he has a max 7, but God Zeus immediately puts in the glue wall, but not for long. Erzin is trying to jump in and find one more. Ron with the charge buster will collect those elimination, and in the meanwhile RULEBREAKERZ gets eliminated. But TRINETRA are happy because they have 11 eliminations, Arka.
Oh, they'll have to thank RULEBREAKERZ for it. Every single time there was a fight, all they got was more eliminations in their name. And I wonder how come a team which was looking so promising in the previous game just became a free picking for a team like TRINETRA. Nonetheless, we've got Cruel who come in to challenge TRINETRA now. Are they going to get burned by the third eye, or can they be cruel enough to get them weakling?
Cruel. They have landed in Deca Square, where the fight has been happening all the way long. 7 minutes, 15 seconds have passed by in this map, and we are still in Deca Square, and it's still not empty. And I am still thinking that how long will it take to empty this space, because teams aren't leaving, right? Because the circle is here again, and the circle has probably shifted towards, boxing gym, but there's an area where Deca Square is there inside the part of the circle. So teams, if they want, they can still fight. They are fighting, and TRINETRA Erzin is in the open. There's only one solo tree and some glue walls which can help him. But Hell Guardians, gods, he's running away from this fight because Cruel Aryan, he has an eye onto him.
Hell Guardians, one of those squads. Oh my god, Cruz! Oh, at the nth moment gets in the teleporter. Things have been looking different, but VASIYO, they are in trouble. Shots gets connected from Aryan. And TRINETRA, who just went into that direction. Zap was like, did you try to shoot me? But Zap, he's in trouble. Trigger discipline at its best. Zap behind that tree needs to be careful. A glue wall gets taken out. Whereas TRINETRA on the other side, he's got J10 who gets taken down. And immediately, his teammate Zen01 falls back to make sure he gets revival, but he also gets attacked from two different directions. This could be a little bit problematic as he also gets taken down, and that means TRINETRA are left out with just 2 players.
You know, I was just looking at the total points. LXP already has 32, VASIYO Esports has 27, and RM, who are right now controlling the very center of this map, which is Boxing Gym. They have also got 9 elimination points, which gets them to 23. And look how close all the teams are till TRINETRA. They're on 14 points, and even you can also pull in Gravity Esports, who are fighting right now against FX Elite. But this is all happening outside the play circle, and the question is for how long, Arka? Because if they are thinking of prolonging it for, some more minutes, they're going to have a lot of problems entering the circle because there will be gatekeeping situations happening.
Absolutely. I know I'm kind of worried for this. I don't know how long these teams can survive. But again, there's a lot happening out here. As REDWIND, now they get into a fight. Tarun is going to be rewarded. 1 in his name. A total of 9. A healthy start for this team as well. But Cruel, they're holding on to Dekaswag for so long, and the circle seems to be shifting towards that itself.
Yeah, it has drifted away from... Oh wait, no, it has not drifted away yet, Arka. We still have some drama left out in Deka Square. But right now, we are towards Boxing Gym, and there are so many teams on the northern end who are outside the circle. Look at School Boys, or some more names, NEXUS, TRINETRA, all of them outside the play circle. But LXP, they're looking to lock horns against RM, who again have managed to find out the, the important building or the real estate in the in the circle.
Yeah. This could be a little problematic, if you ask me. For all the teams who are trying to fly in inside the circle at this point of time, they'll have to make sure that they keep themselves prepared. Let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, in this game, we have still got 11 teams out there. All of them are still eyeing and trying their best to get that booyah. Look at the eliminations. Apart from TRINETRA, everybody else have a fair share of the fights they've been in. Oh, Ron! Very low on HP. As Colzera, he gets in closer. Somehow Ron survives. His teammates giving the backup. What a moment that was. I am 100% sure he would have panicked.
He has been pretty cold-hearted, right, Arka, in the lobby when it comes to eliminations. Yeah. He's not spared anybody. Colzera has always been the one who has created impact. Just like in the last circle of the last map.
Yeah.
But FX Elite, they're again in a situation where they have to probably fight REDWIND because it's towards the very edge. For now, they are safe.
True.
But how will they maneuver? Because there is TRINETRA outside the play circle. They're also waiting. This is, up for chaos, right? There's 11 teams still surviving, Arka. 11.
Exactly.
There's no real estate left out in this circle where these players can find out empty spaces. I'm quite sure that still they will somehow manage some spaces, but they have to fight. They cannot avoid fights or rather bring back players right now, because if you will be able to bring back some players, they will be plucked out in the air. And Imto managed to take down God Zeus.
And for that, you need to be in the open or on the high grounds of the building. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy. By the looks of it all, VASIYO Esports, they're trying to play it as safe as possible, trying to eye for the end games yet again. TRINETRA on the other side, I see only one player running around. And RW, REDWIND, they need to realize this arsenal is not bulletproof. They might get shot at from any different directions. But I love the positioning of LXP. Last time, they walked away with the booyah. This time, they've got a very, very good position inside the circle.
Oh no, the circle is favoring VASIYO Esports, Arka. It is, left out so many teams out in the open. FX Elite, they have to fight their way in, even for the fact that REDWIND, even though the circle is quite near to them, but they have to fight the other teams. It's not going to be easy, and they're probably looking to fight against Nexus, but we are looking at Schoolboys who have a good positioning, and they have to clear out Hellguardians actually. God Cruz gets taken out. The last survivor is Boltai, as he sees his teammate getting eliminated right in front of his eyes. He's still surviving. Wait, did I see any player on the rooftop? And is it from Schoolboys?
Yeah, it's the Schoolboys. I think they just revived a teammate.
GE.
Yeah, and Steven, he gets that high ground under his control. But the sad part is, now they'll have to make it somewhere away. Another bird in the sky in the name of Piyush from Cruel, trying to jiggle around mid-air, is going to get taken down by Emto. But who gets that confirmation? We'll have to wait and watch. Steven, who gets taken down, immediately gets rescued because of really good thinking. Imagine, you're coming down knocked, and your teammates are making sure to support you. Emto gets that revenge, but ultimately, it's GE who get eliminated.
The last time when I saw them in TEZ FFMIC 2026 spring, they were known as REDWIND. Now they have an IGL in the name of Steven. He's leading the team from front. Of course, they did not end the last map well in the way they would have wanted, but they have an opportunity in this game as well. LXP now, we're looking at them with 6 elimination points, but they're surrounded by teams. But they have the circle, so for sure they don't have to move an inch right now. They have to block the situation for Team Nexus. Arceus, he is outside. His blue wall is being peppered by 2 members from LXP. And in the meanwhile, TRINETRA gets eliminated as well, Arka.
We are very much close to the final circles, and we have still got 8 teams in this lobby. We see that Schoolboys are now getting in trouble as LXP are persistent with their sniping shots. Addy gets taken down. Imto gets tagged off. His location compromised. Another shot connects from Knuckle. More rewards for this team. Whereas VASIYO on the other side are slowly stealing every single elimination they can find. NEX, they get eliminated, and all of a sudden, we're just left out with 7. This is the first time I'm able to see a circle like this filled with 7 teams, and nobody is ready to back down.
When I saw the first game, I was hoping that this is just on the cards, Arka, so I'm not at all surprised. And look at the numbers. Again, it is so close. Nobody has launched themselves in the first position. LXP, even though they have 41 points, but they are very doable. I mean, they can be catchable at any point of time. If anybody from this position gets a booyah with good amount of eliminations, they will catch on to them. But LXP, they still have the circle, and probably they will be the one who will want to prioritize the circle. With VASIYO Esports, they eliminate REDWIND in the meanwhile, but they are fighting against the circle, and also they are being shot at by RM, who have a higher ground. So they put up those blue walls and come inside. They manage to come inside the circle, but it's not over for them yet, Arka.
Oh, you know, runs out in the open. The call comes in at the last minute, telling that we have to head behind this stone. And from there, we'll try to get closer to the building from an angle from where RM can't shoot us. Rudra being persistent. Shubo on the other side is trying to pull his luck. Cruel gets eliminated. FX still alive. LXP, they've got a very, very good spot in the circle yet again. But after this, they'll have to come out of that hard compound. But VASIYO, are they making another mistake? It seems like they're not, because now they get a hard compound for themselves inside a circle like this. And NXP, they'll have to come out in the open.
We are left out with the top 4 teams on this map. It is RM, FX Elite, VASIYO Esports, and LXP. LXP right now, the play circle is a bigger threat right now. They have to move outside of this compound. They have already blocked all the windows. The question is, how will they move out? And when they decide to move out, are they going to move out from a similar angle? If they do it, that's going to be, I mean, a little difficult for them to go inside the circle, because FX Elite are waiting. And look at VASIYO Esports, they're peppering FX Elite right now. And once again, FX Elite and VASIYO Esports have ended up in the last circle, and they're fighting against each other.
Says, I'm gonna keep an eye on RM. You guys take care of the rest. And it's important for to not only watch out for the opponents, but at the same time, not get knocked out. FX, a very small window behind which they're holding onto their position. A beautiful ice grenade lands right above their head. And this is where LXP have been phenomenal. They've got a grenade launcher. King is trying to make use of it. but somehow none of the shots connect. But there it is, Volt gives that opening. King on the other side uses that grenade launcher. God as well. FX with a blink of an eye gets eliminated from this lobby. It's a beautiful game coming in from the side of FX as well. LXP, VASIYO and RM are the three teams standing. Most of our predictions is now playing in this final circles. But ultimately, it's RM in deep troubles because both these teams will love to take down these weaklings.
LXP are again doing it. They are waiting. They're not pushing in towards any team. RM, they have somehow, in an unfortunate situation, they are getting sandwiched by VASIYO Esports and LXP from the other end. Nakul finds the head once again in the last circle. He was the MVP in the last one. He's looking for another one. Nakul finds onto Ritesh. He is just taking it on to RM. Rudra is the last player. It's Colzera. And now it is out in the open. VASIYO Esports going against LXP. It's a 4v4 battle. Aru finds the first one. Look at LXP. They're still into it. VASIYO Esports. Shubo. He finds Colzera. LXP are losing hope. Nakul is the last man. He's fighting against it. And Zap is the one who shuts down LXP this time. VASIYO Esports makes no mistake and clinches victory and converts it into a booyah in the map of NEXUS Arca.
It's redemption, it's revenge taken this time around as VASIYO. They have smiles on their face for 11 eliminations. Not big of a number, but they're pulled off a booyah. That is what matters at this point of time. 12 placement points altogether. Even though the strongest in the lobby was LXP, it seems like VASIYO have got that limelight on them. Let's look at the last shot because VASIYO was tremendous when it comes to those 4v4 battles. It all came down to how Rudra's positioning was because he was the last man standing out there.
I mean, King and Nakul's position, they were always away and Zap was the main man. He had a different angle. He was on a flank and because he was successful, he was able to create this damage, right? 3,339 and also ended up with 5 elimination. We know that he has been given the sniper role, so for sure, he will be the one creating the more number of damage, and he has done it. And when it comes to, picking up those elimination and, picking out for fights, I feel Zap has always a good eye for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Given an opportunity, he's never failed his teammates. And this time around, we did see him, right? He was not only trying to cover his teammates, get information, try to play around. He's been the all-rounder. Arup on the other side. Since there was a lot of distance in that fight, we did not see Arup with the grenades. In case they were closer to the other teams, probably we could have expected him to do better.
Absolutely, right. I mean, there's no surprises in their character selections. Zap, of course, with the sniper, you expect nowadays that players go with Morse and not Skylar, even though Skylar is there, but the picks, the advantages have gone towards Morse. 5 eliminations for Zap, no surprises there. Yuno have picked up 2. Look at the amount of damage, Yuno have with only 2 eliminations, right? He would have expected for a few more confirmations. If that would have happened, probably VASIYO Esports would have ended up with 20 eliminations. But in the previous groups, we have seen higher number of elimination, but in this group, already 2 games have done for, and we haven't seen the big numbers coming in from any team yet.
But 24 has been the average, right? Or 20s have been the average, which is really good because the overall standing is just going to look as bright as it can be. 24
Correct.
points for LXP yet again on the top of the table, even though they did not have that booyah. That means they would have crossed the 50-pointer according to me. VASIYO inching closer to them in the overall standing. RM Esports again gets a 20 in their name. Schoolboys have got a good learning this time around. They've got 19 points with 13 eliminations. FX Elite, TRINETRA making a proper comeback. Kind of shocked to see that Cruel, Hellguardians, as well as RULEBREAKERZ Esports, these are the teams who had to be consistent, have failed horribly.
I mean, I'm looking at the second page right now with RULEBREAKERZ. They did not even get any score. It was a bad start for them. I think they were the only one who were eliminated before the last few phases because there were 11 teams surviving, right? And how were they rotating? I'm very much interested to look at because everybody was there in Deca Square. We were almost on the map for 10 minutes and everything was happening in Deca Square and Boxing Gym. And that's where the circle ended, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But this is where, SB had that space to move around for the longest time possible. VASIYO was just sticking on to that position. From here, VASIYO's rotation made a huge difference in this game. As soon as the teams were trying to inch in from one corner, VASIYO dared to step out of that cover, made sure that they go into a corner from where they can take the fight. They were the first team to enter into the next circle, due to which it rewarded them to fight out the final few teams standing.
Yeah. And VASIYO Esports, even though they were fighting all their way from the southern end, they did not have the space luxury, and probably space was a luxury for all the teams who were trying to rotate from the southern end, because that's where the fights were happening. All the teams who came in from the northern end had a comfort. But look at the standings right now after the two games. LXP, as you mentioned correctly, Arka, they have crossed 50 plus. And they have ended up with 53 because they had one Booyah in the very first game, and they also, surpassed VASIYO Esports, even though VASIYO Esports ended up with the Booyah in the last game. But VASIYO Esports, not so far. They have 45 as well.
Now, this is the best part, right? If you be consistent and you walk away with just one Booyah, it's more than enough for you to be in the top 6. We all know the cutoff has always been between the 60s and the 80s, with two teams almost approaching it. The rest will have to wake up right now, because after the next game, they're going to be done with 3 games, 50% of the games. NEXUS, RULEBREAKERZ and Gravity, not the kind of start they were looking out for, but it's time for them to redeem themselves, because the upcoming map is going to be the default map of Bermuda. Every other team who wants to make sure they want to come back, this is where they can make that difference.
I think this is the perfect time to bring in our prediction for the next map.
Yeah.
And also talk about Gravity Esports, because that's my pick, right? And, while we were watching the practice matches, we never saw Radhe Thakur being a part of that lineup. So now the question comes, or rather, if I am speaking from a Radhe Thakur fan perspective, where is he? Why is he not there in the lineup? And if he is there, I want to know at what capacity he has been brought onto that lineup, because right now the lineup is not doing ideally the way they would have wanted to. And which brings me back to yesterday as well, that TEZ Upits, they did not do well in the first 2 games, but they brought back themselves. They got a 40-pointer in the 3rd game. So I'm just hoping that if Gravity Esports is wanting to do the same thing, they have to do it in Bermuda itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know that Radhe Thakur is one of those players, as soon as he comes into the team, the story can change. The switch can flip. But again, he's going to give that space. He's got that experience. All he has to do is wait out for that opportunity. And that's the best part about all the T1 players out there. Once they go in under a wing of an underdog team, all they have to do is make sure that they give them that experience. And hopefully, we'll be able to see him coming out here for this game as well. But the drop spots in this game, ladies and gentlemen, Peak has always been the center of action in this map. I know that all of those were thinking that 4 teams at Peak. Don't be surprised, because none of them can make it there.
Wow, I mean, that's a way to shape it up, Arka. But, I'm pretty surprised about the fact. I mean, I should stop saying that I'm surprised, because we have seen it so many times, right, Arka, that people show one side of a story on the preferred drop spot, and there's a different side of a story while we see the actual drop spots, right? Because the last time, in NEXTERRA, Deca Square became... probably that's something which should have been on the preferred drop spot, but that was not there. But we had fun, and we are hoping that we have fun on Bermuda as well, because these teams are looking to be there in top 6. If they are not being able to qualify, they will not be able to, live their dream for TEZ FFMIC 2026 fall.
No, I'm not expecting disappointments for the day, to be frank, because all these T1 teams, slowly they've realized that they can't take things lightly, and that's one of the reasons why we have seen that most of them are actually qualifying. Even though the first day is the only day I had a proper disappointment from Arise.
Second day.
Yeah, second day. The rest of the days has been a normal day at office. But today, until and unless we see a player like Radhe Thakur coming in and supporting his team, I don't think so it's going to be easy for the whole squad.
Yeah, I mean, and hence I asked the question that where is he? So if he is able to pass on the information to the team as well, that since he has the experience, right, just calm down, you guys can still pull it back, because teams have done it in the past, and that is why that example of TEZ Upits was brought on by me. And NG Pros, even though they dominated yesterday, but TEZ Upits had the higher number of eliminations than them. Now imagine, they did not do well in the 2 games. They only got 97 elimination in 4 matches. That's some kind of a domination, right? So there's a lot of hope still left out for all the teams out there. So I'm pretty much hoping for drama in the next half, which for sure Crips and Lucifer would make you, all the way through it. But it's time for Bermuda, Arka.
Yeah, Bermuda just moments away from getting into the flight path. As pilots, we are ready. But before which, I want to ask you guys, which among the teams you know out there are going to walk away with the booyah? Do let us know, because the map of Bermuda, you guys know this in and out. I know that you know the teams by now in and out. So probably now you can vote out to be which among these teams out there will be making it to attain that booyah. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are jumping into the map of Bermuda. Make sure to share it among your friends. Bring them all out here, because this is where the intensity amplifies.
Yeah, as we jump in towards Bermuda, everybody should know the nooks and crannies of this map. And I already see that schoolboys have jumped in and they're heading towards Kota Tua probably, because Sentosa Island has been captured by FX Elite. And where is LXP going? Because right now they are the talk of the town.
FX Elite at Sentosa all alone, nobody to pester them. The peak region is where my eyes is going to be set on. I see that TRINETRA are interested to get that position. Edgy as well. Yet again, they go to schoolboys. And this time around, I hope that schoolboys do not get the maximum of the opponents. But RBZ, this is one of the rule breakers' speciality. They get down first to the floor, and after which they make sure the opponents pay for the price.
LXP, they're fighting again. You know, it has been a talent or a speciality for LXP to somehow manage to find those drop clashes. But where is Legend? That's the birthday boy, right? And LXP has a good start. Have to mention that we have seen a lot of spam coming in the chat, but for sure, LXP, they're in good shape right now. But Akhil, they're pushing on to a player from LXP, and that was God. He managed to shut him down and immediately picks up the elimination. But will he be able to position himself well? Because the rest of the players, I think, which is Nakul, the IGL, he has left him, has run away from the situation, Arka. And it's rule breakers. If they decide to push him, what's he going to do?
It's God, right? He knows how to take that 1v1 battle. Sadly, he's got a glue wall behind him that could restrict his movements. Rule breakers, they put up a glue wall just to have that cover before they make it inside. And he changes position. He gets down floor. And from here, he tries to escape as he's going to be peppered upon. God is waiting to take down one player at a time. Shots not connecting. He's got that off angle from a distance, but eventually gets taken down because of the chrono shield, or else his teammate from a distance who got that off angle couldn't land even one bullet to weaken Rule Breakers.
Rule Breakers, this time they have a good start. You know, if you look at the standing, they're right at the bottom. Oh wait, no, Gravity Esports again, Arka. It's an early loss and it's the third map. You're only left out with 3 games. You still have to buck up really quickly, because, you know, otherwise it will be dreams over for them in TEZ FFMIC 2026 fall. But rest assured that LXP right now, they have managed to bring back the players, but Nakul is out in the open once again. He has already been brought back, but it's another player who's chasing him. That's RAN. And his positioning is there, and he will find him. Yeah. With the plasma, he will finish things up, and he will pick up one more elimination point for Rule Breakers.
Rule Breakers, consistency has been the key when it comes to eliminations. They've always got that early 5 to 6 points. And after which, all they have to do is try to survive until the end. I know that they're not able to find that footing in the final few circles. Probably this time around, if they take that early rotation, hold the center of the circle, we can expect them to walk away with a booyah. Nonetheless, we see schoolboys are back to work as there's a drone right above them. Addy realizes it, destroys it before Rule Breakers could make closer to them. And let's not forget, the rest of the T1 teams, none of them are interested in a fight.
Schoolboys, right now they have 6 eliminations and they're slowly picking up the pace, right, Arka? Even though they messed up the first match, and right now against Rule Breakers, Shark, he only has that tree, and that is, you know, something which nature can give you, and that's it. Shark, he did manage to find one player, but look at him too, with that Kar 98K, with that sliver of an HP shake. He tried to run away, but not for long. Akhil is the last player from Rule Breakers, and I just hope, oh, he has a group. I mean, he would be relieved that the vending machine was not far away. So he brings back Akhil. And now he has to run away so that his loot doesn't go away from him.
No, forget about that. Are they going to look at the skies and try to put him down? Because I think that is what's going to happen. Akil on the other side, he gets another 300 coin. He's running around to collect more. But next, the other smart ones, they immediately head to the top of that building. Now they have information of where the opponents can be. Schoolboys on the other side, they make it inside. They find no one. So eventually, they pick up a vehicle to run away from this position.
He has lost all his HP, and poor Addy, he will get picked off in Nexus. They're having fun right now with Schoolboys because there are so many eliminations up for grabs, and Schoolboys in a bit of a pickle. And in the meanwhile, you see Hell Guardians getting picked off somewhere in the map. But Nexus, there's so much happened, and they have only confirmed one elimination. I mean, that is something which I did not expect. I thought a few more eliminations should have been brought back.
That's the kind of expectation they already carry, right? The way they played the first 2 games, it feels like even one is way too less for this team. Even though they were involved in just one fight, which did not actually go in their favor that much because the opponents were quick enough to get away from them. I do believe it's the third party who stole away from most of the eliminations. Nonetheless, we see that teams like Schoolboys and VASIYO have started to pick up fights. RM as well. They're converting the fights better. 2 teams out of this game, especially HG. I was expecting them to at least get 10 points in this game.
Yep. Right now, it is RULEBREAKERZ. Again in a spot of bother. This is Ran 10. Volt, he has a WM, he misses. I mean, at this level, you are expected to hit those shots. It's okay. Ooh, nuclear, he lands one. And he doesn't miss those shots with that ACAT. FX Elite, they were the one who fired the first shot, but now Volt is out in the open. And rest other 3 members are in the different, is actually on a different bridge. And Rudra gets taken down by that Uzi. Wait, in that range, really? How?
I have no clue, brother. All I know is being persistent rewards you with a lot of things. Volt, he's been missing a lot of shots. Now he's got the bird in the air. Lands one perfectly. Gets Ritesh out of this game. And now we can turn around to see the rest of his teammates. FX coming back to the shenanigans. They see, oh my god, Nuclear on the other side. Already had an answer. This time around he gets traded off. Left out with just one last player. FX, can he find the last weakling?
I mean, RM in this fight, they looked to be the promising one, but now tables have turned, right, Arka? And that's how, we have always seen Free Fire Max matches to be. Poshinok, this is where REDWINND hold for now, but for how long? Because towards the hilltop is Cruel, and we have seen Cruel when they are in song, they can crank up the numbers, but it is Mize whose position, wait, as I speak, Mize's position is already known, and he has already been shot at.
Irfan, he needs to get revived, but he's under big trouble as shots are still connecting. Somehow he gets into cover. But Cruel on the other side, I've not seen this team suffer so much before. Probably now they've chosen to aim for that booyah, not being that aggressive is kind of backfiring for this team. SB Addy on the other side, look at him go. He's already got one knock and the confirmation. FX, they're also not stopping because RBZ, all of these teams who actually are so strong when it comes to their firepower, they've started to feel the pressure, and due to which they're not able to convert those fights.
TRINETRA, I mean, there's a UAV above their head right now, so their position would be known. But, I mean, there's no team in the vicinity, so no problems for now. But they have to rotate inside the circle. Peak is the center, and Nexus, I mean, there was no surprise, right, that we know for a fact that Nexus needs more fight. But we cannot blame them as well, Arka, because they are right in the center. And they should be the one who should convert this game because they need it big time. They have only one elimination right now. I'm hoping that they should get at least, 7 to 10 elimination by the end of it. But it's our prediction. It's our call against them. What happens is something which we will still have to wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Now again, you spoke about their interests in fights has been a little bit lesser. That's one of the reasons why their fingers are not hot enough, and they're unable to convert those 4v4s. This time around, they'll have to keep a keen eye on which team is going to come in closer, try to stop them before they reach their doorsteps. But sadly, I can see more than 2 teams already approaching that building where they hold right now.
Ritesh, here's a Mac 10, but he's out in the open. He needs to be at a closer range. Nakul, I mean, he has that responsibility. He's the IGL and it's also his birthday and he's playing really well. But King gets taken down right now. Oh, this is not the way LXP was thinking this fight to turn out. But Nuclear, he has to be taken down still. He has not been dealt with. Puts up the glue wall, gets the time to heal himself up. But there's a player in a different compound for LXP. I mean, when does he shoot? When does is there any white flag being waved? I don't think so, because Ritesh, wait, he's running for his life. He has a sliver of his HP. He comes out of the compound, but
oh no,
he gets taken down by Nakul. He had a Mac 10 in his hand as well, but this is Nuclear, the last man. And as he goes down, there's a vending machine, but that's in the first floor. He has run above, and he's just waiting now. God has a charge buster. It's a chase game going on, and Nuclear manages to pull the players back in this chase. He should be the happiest one, even though even if he falls now, Arka.
Yeah, absolutely right. He's given that lifeline for his team, and now he's still trying to buy some time so that the opponents deal the damage off the zone. Look at him run. He's very quick on his feet. It seems like he knows this place left, right, and center, but suddenly he was in the open and he gets taken down. LXP, their persistency has given them 1 point, but is it going to cost them? Because now they'll have to make it inside the circle, and a lot of teams out there can gatekeep them.
I mean, now I know, Arka, what to do when I am stuck in such a situation. Run, just run and bamboozle your opponent. But this is Schoolboys, who are not at all bamboozled. They are taking the fight on to RULEBREAKERZ. But wait, Addy and Steven are out. It's only 2v3 for them. And Imto is the last man. And suddenly the tables have turned. And look at REDWIND, they're surrounding us scavengers. And probably they might have the best chances to win this situation. But look at Sheikh, he's pushing in. Imto is the one who has the 1v1 in the situation. And Sheikh wins it with that M590, and he will manage to bring back Shark as well, and the revival will come along, but the circle is giving them a lot of damage.
But still, they want to get to the nearest vending machine. They know there's a vehicle close by. Immediately, they need to pull it off. Nuclear, who just flew in fresh, gets assaulted midair. TRINETRA were looking so silent so far. Now they've made it to one corner of the map from where they have good control. FX, in case FX were in the open, the story would have been different. Nonetheless, the team which needs a booyah are on the very top of this building. They have the bird's eye view. They have all the information required, but how well can they execute a fight?
TRINETRA, they're in the garden right now. Nexus, as they have already said that they had the center, but right now they don't have it. They have to move now, and probably the problems will start for them. You know why? Because TRINETRA are waiting and the position are known, but Nuclear, he has found a new home, but he's the last player from Team RM. And when he gets spotted, the question is, will he be able to find more elimination or survival point? Because that is what is needed from him. Because with Schoolboys out, the third position is up for grabs. That's definitely there, right, Arka?
Yeah, absolutely. But again, you know, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, true.
All these teams need to make sure that they play well. And they're going to be under immense pressure, even if they're trying to do their best. NEX especially. This is one of those teams who are at the very bottom of the table. They've got 15 points. That's it. And now they already receive a player being knocked out. TRINETRA, 8th position. They want to make it into the top 6. The desperacy of all these teams are visible, ladies and gentlemen. After this, every single fight is going to reward these teams a place better than where they stand.
I mean, look at the circle. The open areas are empty now. Finally, they decide to rotate. They're using the launch pad to do it. That's the safest way. And so many shots fired from TRINETRA's end and nothing connected. Nothing at all. And Thunder, he finds one shot onto Cruel Anshu. This is probably the Nexus we would have wanted, but wait, as I speak, Aryan finds 2 of them, and right now the fight is against TRINETRA because there are 2 teams who are approaching them. But we are I mean, we are here towards REDWINND right now. Oh, wait, what? Nexus eliminated Arka.
Can you believe a team which was holding such a good spot gets eliminated? I mean, it's hard for me. Nonetheless, we see that those who are working hard are reaping benefits. RM, they get eliminated, all thanks to FX, who came in to strike them at the right time. FX, 9 eliminations already. REDWINND on the other side. They've been eliminated on the 6th spot. The top 2 teams still survive to see which amongst them will be at the tippity top. VASIYO, after getting that booyah, this team is looking unstoppable with 12 eliminations. Every other player have already found that pulse, beating with one another, getting that perfect synergy. Whereas FX on the receiving end of things, TRINETRA pushing against them. Avjit in deep trouble. Piyush as well needs to be careful. But Volt's position, that is a very supreme and a prime position.
Yeah, and he has not fired a shot yet. When he fires, will he find more than one is the question. But Avijit, he's trying to close in the distance, throws in a lot of freeze nades. TRINETRA, they're being pressured, and Volt's position is known right now. He's half HP. It's a 3v4 situation against FX Elite TRINETRA. They use the heal gun to heal themselves up. And they are now getting shot from a different angle. And that is Team Cruel, and VASIYO Esports are also getting around. So probably they want to be a spectator, and VASIYO Esports, imagine a team for the 3rd time they have managed to be there in the top 4. And Piyush's nade finds one player. It is PSG10, and Volt have run with. He jumps up to find one knock, but he gets taken down eventually. But probably he has the best situation because his teammate had a Thiva, so immediate revival comes back. But the fight is not over yet.
FX trying to do their best. The grenades, the ice grenades, the glue wall melters. Every other utility is going to come in use in seconds now. PSG, he gets inside. Any of them have got that chrono shield to rush in. It seems like one of them had a Skylar, due to which now they're going to be pushing in. Avjit gets taken down. The whole team is going to bounce upon them with a snap of a finger.
Oh, no,
everybody gets taken down, but from the other side, it's the grenade launcher, which lands perfectly to get at least 2 to 3 elimination. Cruel, 18 elimination against VASIYO. This is a 4v4 battle for the killing, ladies and gentlemen. Yuno gets in closer.
Oh, no.
It's going to be Anshu gets taken down. Piyush gets taken down as well. The 3 from the side of VASIYO Esports in sync. Now they'll have to deal with just one last player, Zap. He gets in closer. Aryan in deep trouble. Yono comes in closer as well. It is a cakewalk for this team, ladies and gentlemen. VASIYO Esports shows us why they're the best in the lobby. They get the 2nd booyah of the day.
Back-to-back booyahs for VASIYO Esports. After, they would have thought that they would have messed up the first game, but they have come back stronger again with 16 eliminations. And Zap, again being the last point of contact, even though he's the sniper, he is creating so much value for this team. They waited out. Let's have a look at the last shot, Arka. Let's see how VASIYO Esports managed it out. I think credit has to be given to Cruel Anshu, right? Because look at how Cruel is waiting. They had the best position. They had the best view. They were waiting for all the thing to clean up, and they were the one. They thought that Anshu was the one to clean everything up. And once VASIYO Esports realized that the other teams have been eliminated, they latch on to it quickly. And again, Zap was left out in the open. He was the diversion and he created it. But it was Shubo who's the MVP in this game.
Shubo stood out for his team when required, especially in that final circle. 2,684 damage, 8 assists, 5 eliminations with that deadly M590. The R1 for the information, Nikita for the quick reload. Olivia, man, this guy was using his brain on every single selection of the passive skills.
Yeah, the reload speed is always required, right? When you are a rusher, that's absolutely needed. And now comes the setup for the whole team. I feel Nikita is a common in almost all the rushers, right? Again, as I was speaking for Shubo, has had the same role, but there was Chrono for him. And we have always seen that how this team has, ran in while fights are on, because Arup, Yuno and Shubho are the ones being the point of contact, where Shubho is the first point of contact, then there's the second point of contact being Yuno, and then comes Arup. And Zap is in a different angle always with his sniper, trying to create headaches for the team they are facing, and they have been successful in all the way along, because in 3 games they have ended up with 2 booyahs, and they have good amount of points, and probably they would end up in the top position in today's standings.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to VASIYO. Half day done, and they've got the second buoy already with 28 points. Cruel, who did so well with the eliminations, they couldn't latch on to VASIYO properly. They walk away with 27. FX Elite as well, 16 for them. Schoolboys, again being consistent. TRINETRA is consistent. LXP Esports, shocked to see them at the 6th position. REDWIND, RM and RULEBREAKERZ. These are the teams I'm kind of starting to have concerns for, because the bottom 3, it seems like they've lost their hope.
I mean, you'll also have fun while we watch the today's standings as well, because there are big changes, right? Because we saw RM getting eliminated. They had a good start in the first 2 games, and they could not convert, or rather have a good game. But we have to talk about NEXUS, right? They had the best of the positions for the longest time, and we have to watch the circle analysis, right? And when the circle analysis comes in, you will see how NEXUS was holding on to that position in peak. It was TRINETRA who jumped onto that spot, and we saw how LXP was controlling Factory, Pochinok and Mars Electric. That's a huge space to control, right? And then TRINETRA left out of that position, and then came in, a team called NEXUS, but they were eliminated since they were not in the top 5. So their position is not even seen right now. It's only VASIYO, Cruel and TRINETRA, FX Elite and LXP we can talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, let's not forget that in the final circle, VASIYO, they did not move an inch. All they was doing was being the spectators for rest of the squads. Look at them, just changing position and then holding for the rest of the squads to fight it out. Once they realize that Cruel can be a little bit of a menace, that is where Zap, he gets away from his team, tell the trios to just go in, grab as many eliminations as possible. Even though they were not having as many finishes or eliminations as that of Cruel, they've got enough to be on the top of the table. 73 points for VASIYO, 41 eliminations with 32 placement points.
Look at RM. They were at the 4th position, Arka. Now they are at the 6th. They did not have a good game, and now the difference has also been closed down by REDWIND KINETX. They're on to 38, TRINETRA on to 30. So I feel if you are RULEBREAKERZ or a Hell Guardian or a NEXUS or a Gravity Esports right now, I would be looking for a booyah. Nothing less than that. And if you are also converting a game into a booyah, you would require at least 10 elimination points, because a 20 or 25 pointer jump is what they should be looking for, because other than that, it would become so hard for them to, cross a team like an RM or a REDWIND or probably like an FX Elite, because they're closing towards 50 marker.
Yeah, and it's also important for you to be consistent as well. It's not just in one game you do well and after which you just stay silent. RM are a prime example for it. In case RM would have continued to be consistent, probably the top 3 spots would have remained in their hand. Cruel as well. Even there, we have seen a different approach. But nonetheless, we are able to see that T1 teams are doing really well. This is where I would want the audience to come in over here. Let us know which amongst you will be predicting this right. Because the top 3 teams by the end of the day, that is what I'm looking at. Do let us know in the chat, which is your best 3 by the end of the day who's going to be there in the overall. Oro, I do believe that we know the ritual for the day, right? We have always been gone through a break. But before we head there, I'm going to ask you, who do you think is going to be the top 3?
I feel there's no surprise that VASIYO, LXP and Cruel can have that chance. But, probably I would leave that question for Lucifer and Crips to answer. For now, we will take a short little break. And after we come back, we will see the rest of the 3 games.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to TEZ Free Fire Max India Cup Fall 2026. My name is Crips and joining me is Lucifer. We're going to be taking over the last 3 games of the day. By the way, welcome back to the penultimate day of the play-ins. Today, all the teams that will qualify will make it to the group stage. Only the top 6 will make it. Obviously, you guys are aware about that. For those of you who are just tuning back in, keep in mind that the top 3 teams have almost secured their spots already. Like, they are so far ahead of the competition, I don't think anyone else can catch up. So now, the 3rd to the 6th spot, that is going to be heavily contested.
I'm excited to see this. We had a week long of play-ins. We still have one more day after this, and we will have our best teams across for 48 in total who will be making their way into the group stages. Yes, we would have to wait for the next weekend when we see these matches unfold, but before that we still have, as you mentioned, penultimate games. And to be honest, Crips, this set of group that we are seeing right now is I cannot say it's top heavy, as you are saying, right? The top teams look like they're almost securing their spot. But the teams at the bottom, there is still a difference to make it towards the top 6. When we kind of saw the previous groups, the difference was around 1 point, 2 point. But right now, at least between the 6th and the 7th team, it's 6 points. From there on, it's almost around 10 to 15 points. And it's just increasing. So I don't know if it's an equally balanced or if somebody is just taking away the points and we are missing something out.
Exactly. It's like an upward curve. It just keeps on rising. And the closer you get towards the other side, it just becomes much harder for you to climb. So, yeah, this is definitely not the most balanced group that we have seen, but it is one of the more unpredictable ones. Up until now, Schoolboys have been doing really well, but yet a Booyah eludes them. And even though VASIYO Esports lose out a lot of their members early on in the game, they can still bring it back, and they have all 4 players alive in the final circle. So those comebacks have been pretty good, even though at one point it will look like a team is down in the dumps and they might almost get eliminated.
With that, let's see if there is chances for some of the teams as we make our predictions. I've gone in for Kroll, Gravity as well as FX Elite. I'm going for Gravity just because I see maybe there's a hope because we've crossed the halfway mark. You've gone in for VASIYO, Schoolboys and LXP. LXP are undoubtedly, you can go for them, especially because they got the very first Booyah to start the day off. Clear outright, I think right now. Picks for you guys also to do in the chat and let us know who your top 3 are. But with that, let's jump to the schedule. It's going to be Purgatory that we are jumping into. Crips, I'm not sure, man. I'm still confused now. As like, should I look at Schoolboys? Will they make it? FX Elite, RM Esports. Will we see a REDWINND spinning up a hurricane and then them jumping in? We'll wait and watch.
I think for REDWINND Esports, things have started to become more and more dicey because at least in the first game itself, I thought that they have potential to do a couple of squad vibes even if they can't win games. But now I'm starting to doubt that as well. Even RM Esports for that matter, they have come through from the city qualifiers. So technically this should not have been a difficult game for them. But even though they have a decent amount of points, I do not know if they can still make it. It's still too early to say. And that's exactly why I'm a little worried over here. Everything is still shrouded in mystery and you cannot say for sure who will guarantee. And there's 3 games still remaining. Generally, by the halfway mark of the day, I'm fairly certain who I'm going to see in the next of the tournament. Today, that's not the case.
Not at all. Every game so far we've seen, teams have been trying to climb up the ladder, but it's not been enough. Not enough points, not a Booyah. VASIYO Esports getting a back-to-back. If these teams take it away, and they're not taking it away in a fashion of almost 40 points or close to 35 plus points. It's been decent, close to 30 but not more than 30. So the games are really good from the teams at the top. But when we head over to our game number 4 with halfway mark already done, I hope the other teams manage. Even Oro mentioned that it is time for Booyah. If they don't get a Booyah, they might fall short.
Yeah, they desperately need that. Now let's take a look at the playing path. It's going from central towards Moat House, slightly diagonal. I am expecting some early drop clashes towards Fire Brigade, considering RM Esports as well as REDWINND are heading over there, with Hell Guardians close by in central. Then you have the golf course, which is occupied by RULEBREAKERZ, and NEXUS right on top of Mount Villa. LXP are in Marble World, so they have quite a lot of area to work with. Nobody really contesting them just yet. They can take their sweet time to go interfere in the battle between RULEBREAKERZ and NEXUS Esports. But down in Brasilia, I see a potential 3-team clash over here. There's TRINETRA, and then alongside them, you also have Cruel. But there's a team in Fields who have already occupied the Ridge Mountain, so they can come rolling down the hill the moment this fight gets a little too intense.
Let's see if that's going to happen, as Cruel are now charging in TRINETRA out in the open. Cruel have all the compounds with themselves. Electrotherapy also being used. Be ready. Mac 10 on hand. Has to get closer to PSG. Will there be an opportunity? Piyush on the other end firing, trying to break the glue wall down and making sure the other players from TRINETRA do not get close. But one of them decide to charge in at Anshu. Did not work. Falls. PSG as well. And now Ron, who thought he had an angle, could cover fire, but it is not going to work out. He's also being damaged. Deta is the only savior right now for TRINETRA, as he is way too far from this fight. Easy pickings to start things off for Cruel Esports.
Yep, 3 fast eliminations, not a lot of losses, and they got it done before the third party could arrive. They repel away their opponents, and even though there's plenty of chances for their opponents to come back in this game, Cruel Esports acquired what they wanted. The control of the Northern Brasilia part, and 3 good eliminations. Now let's take a look at RM Esports versus REDWINND, potentially clashing over here. Rudra jumping right out of his vehicle. Ritesh on the other side. But wait! He gets hit with his own teammate's vehicle. There's no damage, but yeah, he had to dodge that shot coming through from Ritesh. Not gonna happen. Rudra finally gets the knock. And what on earth were REDWINND cooking over here? They've just got the wind stolen out of their sails.
Yeah, there's no storm being brewed up by them, at least in our Purgatory game. And their chances of climbing up to the 6th spot are now gone. They have to wait for the last 2 games of the day. While we were talking about the penultimate games, it seems like their fate is going to be decided in those last 2 games. Cruel on the other end, smooth sailings for them at the very start as well. Now they have another fight again. I'm not sure TRINETRA have the idea about this, but they're floating around, and Aryan, there you go, he spots Ron. Ron was the one who was thinking of cover fire, but he gets picked off first this time. And on the other end, 2 of the players, PSG as well as Erenzo. Let's see if they will be able to do something different.
I mean, Ron just dropped right in between these guys. He just dropped in their lap, and Cruel were like, okay, thank you so much for the free point. And now they're invading the compound. Ezren holding the door, ready to pre-fire around the corner. I think he popped the time down a bit too early, but that's okay, because he's getting challenged down in the water. Piyush gets the spray down with the MP5. And with that, Cruel are up at 6. After winning their fights in Brasilia, they now come across the river and they're crossing over towards Marble Works.
It's the same 3 players, Crips, that they took down, and now they get another chance. That's a total of 6 eliminations. With, I don't know what TRINETRA were doing over there. Maybe a miscalculation. Maybe they thought this is a complete different team. Maybe we could challenge. I think they had the mini Uzi. I'm not sure what that play was itself, and as soon as Ron fell apart, you could see TRINETRA just decided to play cover. And now RULEBREAKERZ deciding that against the Hell Guardians, as one of the players being surrounded, a 2v1 works quickly in their favor, but that's not the same team they're going to be fighting now. It's going to be Schoolboys. Headshot right across the compound. Akhil wants to make a jump, but now the Bolt Maker being called flushes him back towards his teammate.
RULEBREAKERZ regrouping once again with Schoolboys, hoping that they don't get too overexcited over here, because Steven is alone, and while he's supposed to bring forward the angles to help his teammates out, it's gonna up to Headshot to lead the charge. Yeah, he's just baiting them, luring them into a tighter corner. But wait a second, I think he's just done that. Look at Hell Guardians driving right past this fight. This could be the perfect distraction. And I do not think Schoolboys are ready for this one, because the moment they turn their attention towards Hell Guardians, RULEBREAKERZ charge right inside. Sheik gets the knock onto Headshot. And this could be Steven's cue to get out of here. I don't think he can go for the rest, so he has to go and regroup with his teammates, but they are also a bit far away. Shark finds the angle, and nobody can rescue him.
Bolt, I don't know what he was doing. He had the vehicle. He could have made a run. He lost his player here, and now RM Esports, they're making a jump, and timing being perfect. RULEBREAKERZ have a distraction, but Boltai, he's saying that this is the opportunity for me to grab a quick elimination. Gets one. That's going to be the second. Shark right ahead at the window. And now Shark, he wants to take this 1v1 because his teammates, they're all getting surrounded. But if Shark doesn't win this, his whole team will be wiped out. He wins that duel. Now has to quickly get into vehicle, make a run, gets the vehicle for himself. But RM RM Esports. They're close. Will they be able to spot him? The vehicle's destroyed now. Shark will not be able to make it much further. And Shark is losing HP, losing ground. There's just River in front of him, and RM Esports are chasing him down.
Yeah, and down he goes, down the hill, down the drain, all his efforts in vain. RULEBREAKERZ eliminated. I mean, there was a point where they were doing really well against the schoolboys, you know? It seemed like they would have won that fight if they just stuck to fighting schoolboys, but then Hell Guardians just drive right in. Cool, not their fault. But even when you know that Hell Guardians are on their way out, they are getting out of their vehicle, how can you not anticipate the fourth party? Because RM Esports got all those eliminations for free. Now let's move on to the next fight. It's going to be Cruel Esports trying to fight against LXP. But while we do that, poor schoolboys have been eliminated. Their last guy out. And even over here on your screens, the birthday boy Knuckle out of the game. 2 cruel eliminations indeed.
Big hits coming through. Cruel on the other end looking forward to maybe their very first booyah. LXP as well as VASIYO have taken the first 3 games. And maybe Cruel brew something of their own. FX Elite, they just have 2 eliminations so far that they've found playing outside the zone. They know that Cruel is here because player from Cruel did take out one of the players, and therefore there is an opportunity to charge in, and that's what they're doing. Rudra and Volt have closed the distance. Piyush and Veer, I hope they know about this. Avijit and Piyush are making sure that these 2 players do not make a run out of the compound, but they're trying their best, putting up glue walls, now making a quick run. Calls being given, but Avijit, I think they were not scoping in, and that will give Cruel a chance to cross over.
Yeah, they made the crossing. Now they can force the close range fight against Volt. Heal UAV deployed. I think he knows the angle. Yeah, there you go. Piyush taken down. I think they should be able to find Veer also any second now. Anshu comes in to provide backup, but it's too little, too late. I do not think Veer can get out of this fight alive. He's not even prepared to fight this one. Blue wall put up in time, and he just gets a few more seconds to get the knock onto Volt, but gets instantly traded out by Avijit. Oh my god, Aryan, great knock coming through with the VSK, but I don't know if this will be able, if this will actually help their cause. Yeah, no, it's not gonna help that. Not at all. FX Elite have recovered. Anshu's forced to fall back. And both these players of Cruel, Aryan as well as Anshu, they will be moving in different directions.
They have to if Cruel Esports needs to survive. We were talking about them. They have the highest in terms of eliminations in this game of Purgatory. Now, yes, RM Esports have matched that when we saw 4 teams around Central and they were the ones best at it. But this fight itself between FX Elite as well as Cruel, so far we've not understood that which team had the better of it. While you can talk in terms of the numbers that Cruel are losing their players and now Aryan going down, but still FX Elite, the way they were fighting this, they also lost a couple of players because of the vending machine. They did manage to revive that player back up, and that is the reason FX Elite have the numbers, but not a complete great fight still. Having all their 4 players, confirming another elimination for FX Elite will put them at a total of 5 eliminations, making their position in that top 6 even more solidified.
Hell Guardians also looking to solidify their position in the zone. Whether it's galloping on horseback or riding across the Brazilian plains, these guys have quite a long way to get inside the zone, but I think they've sniffed out the last 2 members of LXP. Do they find them? 2 members of LXP right there. Up for the taking. Never mind. I don't think they will find them yet. Oh yeah, they did! God Cruise found one. Gets the confirmation onto Knuckle once again. The birthday boy down for the 2nd time in this game. Oh God and Cold Zera need to find their way out. God tries to go for the pre-fire. Doesn't help. No damage done. Forced to fall back. Almost gets away, but Boltite chases him with the speed of lightning. This guy is actually on a high-end killing spree. 10 eliminations for the team. More UAVs deployed. Ready to sniff out every last member of LXP.
Yeah. I was very smart as well coming in from Hell Guardians, making sure that they use the SMG at close range rather than give a shotgun advantage, and M1887 could not do much and got taken down. But right now the Nexus, they have a challenge. It's going to be VASIYO Esports. They've gotten a back-to-back. Could it be their triplicate? However, they're a little spread around, and I'm not sure that they entered into this compound knowing that there's players from the Nexus. But now Thunder tried to take a step down to see who the players were, and VASIYO, as soon as they understood, VASIYO Esports get back into the vehicle, make a run saying that, hey, this is not the fight we want. None of our whole team is here. It's only 2 of us, so we can still cut this fight, move in the other direction. So the Nexus, they also don't have trouble as of now.
Yeah. Nexus not even needing to force their unconsensual tenants to evacuate the building. They just left on their own will. FX Esports though now are kind of surrounded by Hell Guardians on either side. There's 3 players on the left, 1 on the right. Can they survive this one? Bolt High and God Zeus make contact first. Both of them go down instantly. They dive back into the time turner and get the knock onto Zeus as well as Cruz. Oh my goodness, these guys are falling like flies. It's just HyperGod left. And even if he runs, I don't know if he has access to vending machines.
FX Elite, that was quick coming in, especially from Avijit and also his teammates backing him up. And right at the edge of the circle, meaning they'll have a lot more control now. They don't have to be worried about their backs. Yes, the Bolt Maker a little annoying, but it's now cleared the path for them. 8 in total eliminations, as you mentioned. And so far in all the fights that we've seen, except for LXP, who have not picked up any elimination, every other team in the top 6 have picked eliminations. TRINETRA, Hell Guardians, the Nexus and Gravity Esports. It's only Hell Guardians who have 11 in total eliminations, making a little bit of a movement to get to the top 6, but the others are still struggling. And if they keep no eliminations in their spectrum, not finding it, their survival is the key. If they think about it, there is no synergy being built and no consistency, which will trouble them. And same thing is now happening for HyperGod. Even though Hell Guardians have 11 eliminations, he's the last one standing. What can he do? If he gets eliminated now, it's only 2 placement points.
Yeah, so now he just has to play his own life. No possibility of a revive as well. Oh, I think VASIYO Esports are aware about someone being behind them, but luckily for now they're distracted by Piyush, and his reckless driving lands himself in trouble. I would say he's caught in between a rock and a hard place, but there's literally no other cover next to him, so he is trapped in the middle of nowhere, getting surrounded. Bolt also in a similar situation. At least Piyush has some company over here. Maybe Bolt can apply some pressure from the high ground and alleviate some pressure off of his shoulders. Oh, even Avijit strikes. That's Zap over there. That goes down. Arup loses the fight and he gets traded out. Okay then, FX Elite might just be able to survive this encounter, but they go diving right inside VASIYO Elite's time turner. It's just Shubo left. They might just be able to pull off the 1v2 clutch. He goes for the pre-fire, Charge Buster not helping him. The SMGs are actually doing a much better job this time around. Avijit knows where he is. He lands the final shot. VASIYO Esports will not find their 3rd booyah in this game.
Avijit has been incredible in all these M590 fights in a 1v1 duel, up close and personal. 5 in total of his own and 12 for the team. FX Elite now taking down VASIYO Esports, clears out the charts for another booyah for a different team with LXP also out. A fight now breaking out with TRINETRA as well as Cruel, and unfortunately it just becomes an exchange. They've now getting taken down. TRINETRA going on a fight. Can they find an opening? They need these points. They have to go for it. And Devta, even before some of the fight works in his favor, Gravity Esports, they end up getting the advantage, and VASIYO will be able to get his players back up and get the confirmation as well.
Well, can Gravity Esports finally turn this game around? They've got a favorable position. They've got the high ground. They should be able to come downhill as well without being gatekept. They just have to deal with Devta. Oh, they don't even have to do that. RM Esports do that for them. But now they're all so low on health. Their HP dwindling, and so are their hopes. They thought they had cover off the road where they should be able to deploy glue walls, but the zone just hurts a bit too much. And Flames, he's got their number. Rudra shoots down Dave, gets the confirmation as well, and now the last member of Gravity, he also should be going down any moment now. There you go, they crumble. Gravity Esports get eliminated. Meanwhile, Nexus, while they were nice and safe, feeling a little cozy inside that house, they too will have to go out in the open. This is going to be their trial by fire.
Last 4 teams, Nexus, they also need the points. FX Elite, they want to make sure that they put up a solid ground in the top 6. However, FX Elite chasing this, the Nexus have not found much eliminations. As you said, they were sitting all cozy inside, warming themselves up. But are they ready for a fight, which FX Elite have been doing? Knock was dealt, Avijit up close and personal again. This time it's going to be Piyush to find the opening. 3 of the players are down. It's only Arceus, and he'll also be taken down. Rudra with the last bullet through the Nexus and will shut down their portal.
Oh my goodness, I wish I could have seen that from Piyush's perspective. Triple elimination like that with the M590. I mean, I was having a discussion with Aura the other day, and we were discussing how the SMGs have become much more viable than the shotguns now, but clearly that was just the case for Group E. here in Group F.
Yeah.
Teams are dominating with their shotguns. Oh my god, look at that full send with the monster truck. Rudra lands a great shot onto Volt. They try to keep him alive by using the heal pistol, but they have to save their own skin first. Piyush gets sprayed down. Aryan with the VSK finds Rudra. And the cruelty that these guys have is insane. But Ritesh with the final nail in the coffin, or rather should I say the final bomb in the coffin, puts them down to dust.
RM Esports versus Cruel. Both these two teams are in the top 6 already, and now them taking a fight against each other is just a lot of points for the teams at the bottom. Let's see, Rudra finds an opening, is trying to provide cover fire. Nuclear on the other end, gotten closer to Cruel, but it did not work out. Instant glue walls and they back off. Cruel making sure that they do not give an individual duel, rather play together. Veer gets tagged. He has an opportunity, will heal himself, and now Flames, who wanted to close the distance, will not be able to, but Ritesh still finds the banger opening. Veer instantly trades it out. Chrono being used as cover, however that does not work out. Now Nuclear has to charge in with his M590, trying his best, but it's not working out. Piyush up close as Rudra finds the opening. RM Esports have this chance, but it comes down to a 2v2 as Rudra finds one more.
Anshu in a 1v2. Nuclear actually going nuclear over here. RM Esports get the booyah. From winning the Bhubaneswar City qualifiers to establishing their authority in the play-in stage, RM Esports have gone from strength to strength. And any people who are still doubting them will finally get the proof that they belong here.
This is why we needed another team to get a booyah, and RM Esports, they make their booyah happen. Fighting against Cruel Esports, who looked a lot more stronger in their fights in the way they were able to deliver blows, but I think you have to give kudos to Ritesh. The M79 opening grenade launcher shots that he was sending, the reason FX Elite fell completely flat was the same reason the opening was found against Cruel. We tried his best, he also found a knock, Anshu as well, but back and forth, then Nuclear charging in, and Rudra with his M82B, he has been special, and we see he is the MVP as the sniper, wielding that M82B itself with Moko, Maro and Suzy, and his primary active skill is Morse.
Yeah, the Morse doing really well. It's not even the Morse that actually helps him out this time, it's that sniper. He was doing so well for RM Esports. And finally, I think he also deserves a special mention. His usage of the grenade launcher, that was also incredible. That resulted in a big team squad wipe. So that was actually very, very impressive. Oh, look at this. This is a rather unique team setup. One guy using the enhanced hammer and only one team boosters. These guys are using 2 tactical markets. Up until now, we've seen like a decent mix, but we've never seen somebody sacrifice a team booster for the enhanced ammo over here. We've always seen them sacrifice either the tactical market or something else. My god, the disparity in damage is even more insane. How on earth is Rudra on 4,000, almost 4,500 damage, Flames on 4,373, but then you've got Ritesh with only 992?
Yeah, I mean, I think
That doesn't make sense to me.
Ritesh's 992 is his M79 Crips. That last Grenadier shots which connected really well, did the damage, formed the knocks, was the reason. And while we were kind of talking about none of the games have gone surpassing 30, it's been a decent close to 30, 28, 24, 29. Finally, somebody breaks that barrier here in Group F. It's going to be a total of 34 points that RM Esports accumulate. FX Elite not far behind. We saw them. They were really good in terms of elimination. 16 in total, but total points at 24 because they got eliminated before Cruel. And if they did as well, we would have seen them at 25. So right now, above a rung is RM Esports in terms of their performance here in Purgatory.
Yeah, RM Esports finally getting the accolades they deserve. I was starting to doubt whether I should predict RM Esports or not, because after winning the city qualifiers, I thought they would have a much better standing. Let's take a look at their movement as well, because up until now, their elimination have been quite well. They're getting quite a lot of points by just fighting, but their rotations have been kind of questionable. So they first land towards the southern island, they deal with a team over there, and then they continue moving up. They avoid the battles in Brasilia, and then they land right next to NEXUS Esports. Now, while these two teams are just just taking pot shots from far away. You see teams like Cruel Esports who take a much better position later on. Poor Gravity Esports get completely pummeled in the process. Both FX Elite as well as RM Esports were shooting them down. Even Nexus Esports met a similar fate. And then basically Cruel Esports and RM Esports were left in a situation where they could control the entire circle and they cannot shoot at each other. So their aggression was then just distributed towards everybody else.
Distribution of points has just happened in Purgatory, and let's take a look at the today's standings. And as you can see, there have been some people who have been moved up and down. REDWIND, they were the closest. REDWIND KINETX did not perform in this game, will be pushed down. However, TRINETRA, unfortunate of their clash between Gravity Esports, that they could not make a bigger jump because this was the best opportunity. And with that, there's a better difference being created at the teams at the top 6 with Schoolboys at 52 points, meaning TRINETRA now needs closer to around 20 points to get to that position, and that could be an opportunity for Schoolboys to push it even further as we'll be heading to game number 5. Gravity Esports, finally after finding a little bit of a lift off, you can see they have moved from the complete bottom spot, but the points is at 25. So for them to climb up, they need in total 27 points, Crips, to get to that 6th spot. And we know this is just to get to that spot in case Schoolboys don't get any points in game number 5. That exactly happens. Some teams only get up 1-2 points, and that's the luckiest game that you'll have, but rarely happens, especially in such a stage, play-ins, and everybody knows it's down to the last 2 games now.
Yeah, in the last 2 games, I think these guys are facing way too much gravitational force. It seems like they're on Jupiter because they just cannot seem to lift off. And no amount of thrust will help them achieve that flight. So I really think it's kind of game over for Gravity Esports unless Radhatakar himself comes back into the server and carries the hell out of his team. On the other end, I am starting to get worried for Schoolboys now, because I was fairly confident that a team as experienced as them should be able to win the entire day. They should be able to dominate everything. I mean, especially when you consider the fact that Steven is literally from X-Fire Gaming. They were one of the best teams in the country, and the rest of the squad belongs to Regenverse, and that Kalahari is one of their stronger maps. I really thought Schoolboys should be able to perform really well, but given their performance in Purgatory, I was like, maybe everything is not that secure. There is still a little bit of shakiness in this squad. So let's see what they have in store for us this time. They might get into a drop clash against FX Elite, and if they do, I will be pretty happy. But this seems like a more believable Kalahari drop spot diagram as opposed to all the other Kalahari drop spots that we've seen in the previous days.
Agreed. Only that maybe Santa Catarina is empty. That is a rare thing to happen. At least one of the teams will occupy, especially that around the refinery we ended up seeing 3 teams. So not much to be worried about, but I agree that this is more of a hotspot of a fight that we are seeing from many of the teams. They are sharing drop spots. Generally happens on Kalahari, where they know that the loot is better, where they know what weapons that they'll be able to quickly grab and get into a fight on. But the main important thing is now that they are game number 5, while they were playing in the FFC mode or in the city qualifiers, they knew what they had to do. The goal was very simple. Also, they would have had an idea because from their city or the FFC mode of where these teams are, who they'd be competing. But when you jump and go into play-ins, teams from around India are all here and are playing on various different strategies, and that is the reason even after us discussing that, hey, this team should play like this, while the flight has taken off, we are still not in control of it, of what will happen in Kalahari.
I don't think anyone can be in control, man. Anyone who says that they're in control is lying to you. Straight up. Those are the facts of life. Let's see if these teams can control their own destiny, though, or will it be dictated by the circle and other teams that are gatekeeping them. For now, Gravity Esports dropping in towards the sub do not seem to have a potential drop clash against Nexus Esports, who are kind of in the middle of nowhere. They won't get enough loot with this one, especially when TRINETRA already in command post and one of their players data on the southern revival point. This should be quite difficult, but as you said, Lucifer, you wanted to see a Santa Catarina fight, and you get one. Schoolboys almost completely wiping out the members of RW. REDWINND Esports down to their last player. Will they have the win stolen out of their sails yet again?
Yeah, especially at a broken ship like this, it looks most probably that could be the case. Schoolboys on the other end, they are already picking up points, where we're talking about a chance for Gravity Esports or TRINETRA while they've already gotten 3 points, I want to see if there is an opportunity that these guys have picked up any points. And as we say, TRINETRA doesn't seem to be the case. Ron is being chased by the NEXUS, and Sharma, he's already found one on PSG. Quick turnaround from Ron, but that's the only thing. He'll not even get a chance to confirm it, but Ron doubles on that knock. Unfortunate that there was another player right behind, and Sharma will be able to bring back his teammates back to life, confirm the eliminations, and put the NEXUS on board compared to TRINETRA.
Come on, Boost. Now under the control of NEXUS. They have been having quite a difficult time, honestly, Lucifer. And it's refreshing to see that they can survive initial skirmishes, get 3 eliminations as well. So, good for them. Although they have a long way to go if they want to make it into the top 6. It's a rather slow start to Kalahari. Only Schoolboys and NEXUS have gotten into fights so far. RULEBREAKERZ, even though they are very close to RM Esports, I do not think this is a fight that he can get into now. He uses the binoculars, spots out 3 people, relays the information to his team, but what will they do with this information? Shark is just kind of surrounded by his opponents, and he can't really move.
Moving right now is going to be Hellguardians against one player of Schoolboys. Headshots down now. Addy's been spotted. Pulls out the chrono, but for how long is this time turner going to help him out as it also goes down? Now GoDz is instantly charging in. Zeus in hand, Max 7 on the other end. Addy again using a glue wall, but not going to work. This time it's going to be a mini Uzi and then a axe to take him out. And Schoolboys, wait, what? I thought that there was still a player and maybe there was one more which HyperGod ended up finding, and that put an end to the run of Schoolboys. And we were talking about it. They've gotten already 3 eliminations, but this is the most likely opportunity for TRINETRA, for REDWIND. They have to bring this game back. Hellguardians, they've found 3, and right in front of them now is going to be the NEXUS as well as Cruel. Shots have already been taken, and that's the reason HyperGod is already out in the field, ready to send more against the opponents.
Yeah, now that Schoolboys is out of the picture, teams like TRINETRA, REDWIND, and even Hellguardians have a great chance of making it through. And I can say that TRINETRA and REDWIND may not be getting into a fight right now, but Hellguardians have the maximum chance to have an impact in this game. Back in Santa Catrina, it's NEXUS Esports. They had a good start to their fight. They have 3 eliminations already, which have doubled since the last time we saw them. But they lose out on Thunder. And without their Thunder, will they be able to find their groove once again? Because even Retro goes down. Oh my god, that shot from the cruise! It's incredible! Great way, great reflexes. Oh my lord, that was actually very impressive to look at.
Yeah. And more, there it is, now a woodpecker, and he is singing every bullet towards the death of his opponents. Now Piyush is completely surrounded, only a single glue wall, but as soon as that breaks, there's going to be 3 players powering through bullets, and Piyush will also be taken down. Hellguardians, it seems like Kalahari is their own hell that they are now unchaining and ruling upon the opponents. Anshu instantly running away. Hellguardians have been the reason that Schoolboys are out, and this could be an opportunity to take him down as well. Anshu, can he get out of this? Is going to be crucial for him. However, revive's been done, so Cruel Esports, even after losing players, it is another elimination that they will lose. Not much to be worried about, but Hellguardians, this is the best and the greatest of starts for them.
Yeah, a great start for Hellguardians as well. I was about to say that for RM Esports because they got 2 knocks, but they haven't been able to convert one of them, and now they've lost 3 players. Oh my god, yeah, sure, you get 1 elimination, but at what cost? They try chasing FX Elite in the vehicles, but they forget that by doing so, they will relinquish the high ground of Refinery to RULEBREAKERZ, and RULEBREAKERZ will indeed punish them. But hey, it's not all over for Flames. With 400 coins, he should be able to get to command post and revive at least one of his teammates. It won't be a good super revive, but like, yeah, that's all that he can hope for now. Meanwhile, FX Elite, the team that was being chased by RULEBREAKERZ, ends up running straight into VASIYO Esports, and they do really well. Unfortunately, none of those confirmations come through. VASIYO Esports get the revive, and FX Elite go down. They are the second team to be eliminated.
Along while VASIYO have picked up points for themselves, it seems like the last player from RM has been found. We were talking about it. If he gets an opportunity to go to the vending machine, revive at least one, but that's not going to happen. RULEBREAKERZ eventually spot him and put an end to RM Esports as well. A lot of the teams in the top 6 have now been taken down. It's only LXP, Cruel and VASIYO Esports. Even Cruel were also about to be taken out. This is the best opportunity for every team fighting out, but Hell Guardians, they just got hit upon by Gravity Esports. I saw that on the feed, and that tells me that Hell Guardians, with the last player now surviving, if they don't manage to bring the players back up, and as soon as I say that, 2 of the players are revived. Now they have another second go here in Kalahari.
Yeah, HyperGod was dead at one point. He got revived, and then it's his job to go ahead and rest the rest of his players now. It's a constant cycle of life. It's a constant cycle of just going across the same vending machines. Oh, God Cruz, not really armed enough. About to land close to enemies. Gravity Esports, the team that started it, the team that was responsible for the downfall of Hell Guardians, is now about to face them yet again. But God Cruz doesn't seem to care. He's just running straight towards Anuj. He doesn't even seem to mind the fact that Dave is on the right side and he might just be able to get the flank. Oh, but they spot him now. I think now they are completely aware about the positions of Gravity Esports, so they will fall back a little.
I still don't think they have the idea about the sniper, and if he gets a proper position, it could be trouble here. And Boltai finds an angle, tries to rush up, but I'm still worried. Chrono on both the ends. Boltai still not able to find, and the M1887, sorry, the Dually doesn't find much in terms of damage. It is going to be them now bailing on this fight because this did not work out as played. God Cruz, the last one standing, and Hell Guardians, we were talking about this might be the land they want to rule upon, but it's come down to the last player. Somehow he's made it out. Somehow he's still surviving. I don't know how this is going to work, but the Gravity Esports are chasing him down, not allowing him at all to stand. Oh wait, he's still hitting with a woodpecker while his teammate might have failed on the M1917.
Oh, come on.
He is now able to find, but finally Dave, this is what we were talking about. The VSK finds the last player and hits the nail. Run is put to an end on Hell Guardians.
Yeah, he had like no glue walls, man. He just got one after getting behind that tree. But come on, what's one glue wall really gonna do when your opponents have 2 Moko users? And at that moment, he did the only thing he could. Just stand his ground and fight back because he knows he's not going to escape. So if he's gonna go down, he's gonna go down swinging. And I respect that. I would have respected him more if he came up with a name for himself. I mean, I get it. You respect Cruz. Everybody loves Buriram. But with the way he's hitting shots, he probably should have named something for himself instead of just following his idol. I hope he gets to meet his idol one day and maybe even fight him. But today is not that day. Today he just needs to get inside the top 6. And they are very close. Hell Guardians with 42 points, while they had the best chance of moving in, will not be able to capitalize on Kalahari. But Gravity Esports might do so.
Gravity Esports, every time that we think that they've had a chance to tune up their acceleration and find a movement, they end up getting points, but it's just not enough. They've gotten 8 eliminations this time, and the last time also we saw them, this was around the same amount of points that they managed to grab, but it was still not enough to make a big jump. As you can see, now they've been pushed to the 11th spot. They still need a lot of points, and this is game number 5. Even if they flap their wings and try to see if they have a suit where they'll try to fly across Kalahari and just grab eliminations, they need a booyah along with it. And I'm pretty sure at least a minimum 20 eliminations is the only way for Gravity Esports to make that big leap and get out of outer space and back here in Kalahari. And that's what VASIYO Esports do. Land directly at command post where everybody is trying to raid this place and make it a command center for themselves.
Yeah, and everybody is trying to occupy it as well. VASIYO Esports, TRINETRA, Cruel, 3 teams in the vicinity. Do we have any more inbounds? So far, only Team Nexus is trying to make it inside the command post region, but let's be honest, they probably will have to camp on the outskirts of this area. They can occupy the arsenal. It seems like a decent place now, especially if the circle hard shifts outside of the command post region, then that will be a good place to hold. Next to Cruel Esports, I see that REDWINND Esports are just hovering around them. They might not be able to come downstairs, you know. REDWINND Esports might have to stay near the sand mound. But Cruel Esports is definitely going to take shots at them. And as Cruel Esports start taking shots, RuleBreakers spot them as well. So, yeah, this is going to be a rather slow fight for now.
While we are thinking about a slow fight, I'm thinking about teams at the bottom who still stand a chance, but this is the only game I'm banking on that chance for. That's going to be TRINETRA and REDWIND. You already spoke about it. TRINETRA have not got a single elimination. Same goes for REDWIND KINETX, but the NEXUS, they've gotten fights and eliminations, and once again, they go and take a hit at TRINETRA itself and together wipe them out within a blink. They were all stuck under one tent and they put him to sleep there itself. No beds, but they still lay them all flat.
Yep. They don't need beds, they will need stretchers after this one. Nexus Esports not even giving them a chance to recuperate from their loss. Instantly resetting. And yeah, they took a big chunky headshot over there still. No knocks. Nexus Esports holding their ground. VASIYO Esports also looking to make sure that nobody else can enter from the northern side of the command post region. Although I think it's a bit too late for them to gatekeep LXP because they've already found their way near the sniper towers. Oh, a knock finally comes through. Ran goes down. Still a res as possible. Not really any danger signs just yet. Nobody full sending it across. So the team still have some breathing room, Lucifer.
I don't know what much of a breathing room that teams need to make sure that they make a jump towards the top 6, because it seems like out of the teams that we were wondering who will be able to make that jump, we were thinking about Hell Guardians, we were talking about TRINETRA, we were talking about REDWIND. It is the Nexus. It seems like they have conjured themselves a portal for a top 6 in Kalahari, especially with schoolboys out. This is their best chance, but you can see they're still around 10 points away. We have, in excluding them, we have 6 teams, and with that they should be able to get those 10 eliminations, but they have to be wary about where they'll find those fights and pick those eliminations. We did see a binoculars being used, which reveals the whole squad of LXP, but I'm not too sure of which team used it, but I will at least give a hint that, hey, this position in the command post is now being occupied, so be wary about it. They might make a jump close to you.
Yeah, exactly. Now the circle is also going for a rather central shift. A lot of teams will not be displaced, except for maybe REDWIND Esports. Hold on a second, where are y'all going? You're trying to get up near the command post region, but you don't know that VASIYO Esports have the high ground already. Shubo gets the knock. Irfan somehow makes it in. Tarun going for a very, very risky revive over there. Could have led to the loss of his life. Somehow survives that encounter and reses Mars. That's actually incredible. Dashing right through, but the gap is too big. Shubo gets Tarun. RULEBREAKERZ get the other one. Yeah, sure, VASIYO Esports might have completely decimated REDWIND Esports' chances in this game, but at least one of them makes it inside. Little does he know that that house is already occupied by RULEBREAKERZ, so his little relief will be short-lived.
Yeah, I don't think there's any more hits that Irfan can do. All play as a survivor right now. Nothing else for him. Everybody else on the teams who are surviving still looking forward to where the circle will shift. We just saw VASIYO Esports taking a leap of faith directly towards the tower itself, thinking that, hey, we might have a chance if the circle shifts this side. They've crossed their fingers and thinking that this is the position, because they can also spot multiple teams close by, but unfortunately the circle betrays them. It's moved rather centric, and now they have to make a jump. However, they have time. They have 20 seconds on the clock, but they are ahead of the clock. They want to make it inside before anybody else troubles them, gets closer, and this jump has got them closer to the team who took away some of the eliminations from them when the REDWIND was close. It is none other than RULEBREAKERZ.
RULEBREAKERZ have to turn into Skullbreakers if they want to deal with VASIYO Esports, because both these teams have only 2 tents available. 2 infirmary tents, by the way. None of those big enough to save yourself from nades. They think they have Irfan cornered, but they don't know if that's actually a RULEBREAKERZ member or if that's the last member of REDWIND. So that's something they will have to deal with later on. But I think for VASIYO Esports, it doesn't matter who's in the other house. For RULEBREAKERZ, they have to be aware that their bottom floor is not clear. That's the bigger problem over here. Oh, Gravity Esports have actually a pretty decent compound for themselves. I can't even say it's a compound, it's like just one wall. But nobody's going to come outside this wall to shoot them. So that's actually pretty nice.
Yep. Especially for the movement as well. They can jump spot people, and they are already spotting one. That's going to be Anuj. he will relay the information that LXP is trying to hold the corner. But on the other end, Rule Breakers are going to be the ones who find the last players of REDWIND, KINETX and take them down. That's going to be now down to our top 6 teams itself. And now instant challenge. It's going to be Rule Breakers actually challenging VASIYO, and they don't stand a chance at all as Shubo shuts them down one by one, and it's all down to Ran 10. 2 of the players are knocked, but it's not going to work out. Using stealth bites, running into the other compound. While that challenge did not work out, he's trying to move across the edges, maybe play for survival here. Rule Breakers making sure that they grab points. They do not miss out on this opportunity. And if they are able to do it, they will be happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, and he lived up to his name. He ran like the wind. He ran away from the wind too. Temporarily, but VASIYO Esports know where he is. They're peppering him with the glue wall melters. Not that the glue wall was doing anything to him. All he can do now is just use the medkits and hope that the zone doesn't consume him whole. Hope that he can outlive at least one team over here. At least maybe he can outlive Nexus Esports, because Retro seems to be just ensconced in a tiny cocoon over there, but nobody's looking at him. Veer and Piyush conveniently ignore him and go to fight towards Gravity Esports, and Knuckle lands the shot onto Gods. That's a great one. Now you have Gravity Esports getting surrounded. They're getting sandwiched over here, and it's not the kind of sandwich that will churn up your appetite. Cruel Esports want to break down these blue walls. They are wary of the flank that King can make. King goes down. Great flank protection from Piyush, but now he needs to go on the other side. Meanwhile, God and Knuckle have to work in tandem and find the members of Cruel Esports across these blue walls, but Cruel Esports have taken back to safety. Piyush gets plucked off mid-air, but the rest of his teammates are on the high ground, and this might just be good for them. Okay, it's just Knuckle. Can anyone find him? VASIYO Esports looking across, but they jump right over his head. He's gone unchecked.
They still should be able to give out a call at the players here, but that's the second player.
Wow.
Anshu on the other end. Nice shots being connected, so at least VASIYO Esports, even if they did miss out, they're busy on the other end. Cruel Esports with their 3 players. They did find a knock and an opening. Make it a second time. Aryan puts Zap down. They have to confirm quickly. VASIYO Esports have been quick on their revives, now having them completely surrounded. The other teams who are surviving with their players are barely left with 1 or 2. That's the reason the action is between Cruel as well as VASIYO Esports. Nobody else has numbers to fight this out, and waiting this fight out between these 5 teams, let one of them go. We'll be at least in the top 4. We'll be able to get some points in terms of placements, and the ones who are wishing for those placement points, mainly the Nexus, last man standing. Nobody has yet seen his position. If Piyush now takes a look over the tent, I'm pretty sure that should be an end to Retro.
Yeah, Retro is just hiding. Oh, but Knuckle gave away his position. Has to go outside the blue zone just to get across to safety. Using 2 glue walls to not make sure that no Moko users can shoot him down. But VASIYO Esports will not leave that low ground unless the nade or the zone forces them to. Knuckle is the one who needs to make a move first. He comes right across BOYZ. Doesn't want to do that fight. Tries to go around the other side, but Arup has the other corner. No escape for Knuckle. He must face the music now. It's either that or he stays invisible, hoping that nobody will see him. Meanwhile, on the rooftops, VASIYO Esports have climbed up. Nexus Retro finally finds Aryan, gets one more confirmation before he can finally bite the dust. And now, Cruel Esports are forced to acknowledge Nexus as a proper threat. They were only worried about VASIYO Esports now. They were not able to look at the full picture, and they won't be able to either, as they're forced to drop down and face Knuckle. But Retro lands the shot. He takes down one more elimination. Nexus up at 18, and it's making the job for VASIYO Esports much easier. Yuno and Zap clean up shop, and VASIYO Esports get their 3rd booyah of the day.
VASIYO Esports did not even have to fight it out. They had to wait it out. That's all they needed to do. What a game this was coming in from VASIYO Esports. I thought maybe Cruel Esports will be able to tend to VASIYO Esports because they took down 2 of their players, but it was just the knocks. But no confirmations, and VASIYO Esports just waited. The zone was closing in one after another. Gravity Esports, they made the first move. Knuckle on the other end from LXP, he started taking shots at them, gave away his position. While these shots were being heard, Cruel instantly tended to the closest opponents, and that gave chance for VASIYO to pick on Cruel Esports, pick on LXP, and even the last survivors from the Nexus as well as Gravity Esports, because they were all playing as individuals, whereas VASIYO Esports had the 4 losses lot together, and Shubho is the MVP, as you saw on the last shot as well. 8 eliminations in total, 3,838 damage with his M590 active skill, as the Oscar and passives being Joseph, Olivia and Nikita, and Arvon as the binoculars for information.
No surprises in the ability loadouts over here, but the 3,838 damage, 3838, that's poetry right there. I wish we keep getting such lucky numbers across the rest of the day over here. I mean, there's only one game left. But if you take a look at the rest of his teammates' abilities as well, the only new thing that you will see over here is the use of Cassie over here by Arup. Even though he's supposed to be the bomber, he's playing like a support bomber hybrid because he's got the Cassie as well as the Tiva. Even Yuno is using the Tiva. Of course, that makes sense for him considering he's also using the Chrono. He's supposed to be the support player of the team, even though he's been categorized as a rusher. But they don't have a single enhanced hammer user. They've got 2 team boosters, 2 tactical markets, so they're focusing a lot more on just repositioning and keeping themselves alive, and that's exactly what you saw them do in the end game. They prioritize their fight, they use the movement really well, and they just keep each other alive by supporting hard.
They had a ridge to play around, that terrain of Kalahari, and at that point you could see Cruel Esports, even if they wanted to take shots at them, they couldn't. That complete hard compound, or you could just say the terrain itself, providing such good cover for VASIYO Esports, they could do nothing about it. But this is nice as well. We are seeing some of the players which we are familiar with based on their previous roles that we saw in Spring now change a little bit in terms of how the team needs, and it is still functioning, and even functioning way better. As you mentioned, as we see, and as all of you witnessed, it is 3 booyahs on our 6th day, that is Group F matches in play-ins, and they get a total of 27 points. But the Nexus, they are not far behind. Only if they had an opportunity of having the numbers, they have 26 total points. Their fight and the lost players between Gravity Esports and themselves, and when VASIYO was fighting it out with the RULEBREAKERZ, that's when that fight went out a little out of hand. Otherwise, maybe the Nexus would have had an opportunity, because they were very clean in their fights from the very start till the end.
Yeah, they were very clean in their fights, and they were also very focused on repositioning, because you will see Nexus move around quite a lot over here, way more than VASIYO Esports. At least you can see how VASIYO Esports just move from edge to the edge until the 3rd circle, and then they just jump to the center, and then they stay there. This is going to be the case for a lot of these teams that are going to be fighting out in this command post battle. I do believe that the graph over here is a little incorrect, as the Gravity Esports team were on the border of this compound, and eventually they were forced to go towards another side, even though on this diagram they appear to be on the southwest. But as you can see, a lot of these teams will later be forced to just stay near the edge of the command post region and just go from compound to compound. And in a situation like that, having even one player alive can make or break your entire game, because they all ignored Retro, Nexus Esports. They had no business staying alive for that long, but Retro got 2 more eliminations and so many more placement points for his team. The same for Gravity Esports, right? They made a bad rotation, they lost most of their members, but still managed to outlive a couple of other people over here.
They did outlive the battle, but it was not enough in terms of the points. 51 in total is where the Nexus have gotten, and their position or ranking right now stands at the 7th spot. They are just 4 points behind Schoolboys. So it is coming down right to the neck of the competition. That is game number 6. FX Elite, LXP, RM Esports, Cruel and VASIYO Esports, all of them looking like very safe and sound in the top 6, because the point difference from their position to the teams at the 7th, 8th, 9th or 10th is way far. It starts from 20 to almost going to 30 and 30 plus points. So the chase is very tough. So it's only going to be Schoolboys. And you've always spoken about this. When it comes down to just one spot, one slot that you have, everybody's going to gun for it, and that is where it becomes a chaotic situation. Helter Skelter let loose, and teams make mistakes, especially the ones at the bottom. And with that, let's take a look at our predictions, if we will give them a chance. I have given them the chance, Crips.
Oh, okay. Actually, your predictions are a lot more interesting than mine over here. I mean, I picked Schoolboys and VASIYO Esports because, duh, obviously, they seem to be doing pretty well. But now Schoolboys are in a bit of danger. They still hold the top 6, but with NEXUS Esports coming this close to them, they are well within spitting distance of the Schoolboys, so they can actually be overtaken. And this last game is going to determine all of it. I noticed that you've also picked up Gravity Esports over here. I guess you picked it only because Radhe Thakur was supposed to be in the team, but we haven't really seen him play today yet. So even I was bamboozled by that. Like, even I had Gravity Esports as one of my predictions, but then I changed it. But then again, that was a bit of cheating, right? I changed it after we were allowed to do so. So I admit to that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the only thing I want to see is which is the last map going to be, because this will actually determine which one of these teams can go forward. If it's Purgatory or something along the lines of Solara, which will help you with rotations, then Schoolboys will have a great time. Otherwise, if it's NEXTERRA, then a much hard-hitting team can, focus on eliminations and just take it away. But since it's going to be Solara, yeah, I think it's gonna crack the entire door open for everybody. We've already seen what Solara can bring to the table. It was a pretty chaotic map when we saw it earlier on in the day, and I'm expecting nothing short of chaos over here, because all the teams ranked from 5th to the 8th spot are just a few points away from each other.
And LXP, they got the booyah to start things off just today for Group F on Solara itself. So if you're ending on Solara, they should be the ones having the best chance, and that is one of the reasons, I don't know, I felt like, hey, LXP, they might have taken away their win in the very first game that they got the booyah and did not give them much chance, but we could see clearly playing on survival. They were always trying to get to the top 4, and almost most of the games we've seen LXP survive till the top 4. Even in the previous game in Kalahari, they were able to stand there. That tells me that, hey, LXP should be there. But TRINETRA as well as Gravity Esports, the only reason I put them up is this chance that I wish to see if they will be able to bounce back, especially that Schoolboys have left a gap open for some of them. Even a window of a gap is enough right now for people to just jump in. Schoolboys end up messing up, just like the previous game, end up getting only 3 or 4 points. Everybody else can run up. The NEXUS just managed to get 26 total points. That is an opportunity for everybody. If you manage to just get closer to that double digits, 15 points around the gate, you should be able to get to the top 6. But who does it as the game starts now for Group F, the last and only game, and it's on Solara.
What we started with is what we end with, ladies and gentlemen. Solara will determine the fate of 6 of these teams. You will continue seeing them in the tournament when we move into the group stage. But for 6 of them, the buck stops now. The final game of the day, the final game of Group F, now on your screens, ladies and gentlemen. The playing path goes from Riders Club all the way down to its Eco Drain. And just like the first game of the day, do we expect the exact same drop locations? Okay, there's a few drop clashes over here. NEXUS as well as FX Elite both landing in Waterfall. At least NEXUS has Arceus going towards the hub, so that's an insurance policy. But back in Bloomtown, LXP and RM Esports were about to drop clash against each other, but LXP take a last second turn and go towards the studio instead. But TV Tower, on the other hand, is occupied by 3 teams. REDWIND, Hell Guardians, as well as a third team that I cannot see just yet. But for now, let's focus on NEXUS
as well.
Oh yeah, okay, so all of these teams are in a bit of danger, but for now we'll be focusing on NEXUS as well as FX Elite, because both these teams are in desperate need of points, with NEXUS being close enough to actually be able to qualify. Retro, the guy who was responsible for getting his team a bunch of points in the last one, starts off with a bang again this time.
Ooh. His teammates as well together. On one end, if Retro's doing it, we ended up seeing Thunder as well. Arceus together, all of them finding eliminations, and instantly the NEXUS find 3 eliminations in total. FX Elite on the other end, quickly they get pushed out. One last survivor. TRINETRA on the other end, we spoke about it at TV Tower. They were also getting clustered. It was a big hotspot of a drop that happened at TV Tower. Somehow TRINETRA were able to get out of it and revive their teammates, but the NEXUS, they've gotten 3 eliminations, but Schoolboys, they're still in the competition. They've lost 2 of their opponents. 1 elimination point is what they've gotten, but can it be enough for Schoolboys, or will they survive even further is what we have to wait and watch, only to see if NEXUS has a chance.
only to see if they have a chance. I mean, they're not that far away from Schoolboys, right? If both these teams play the way they are playing right now, then I think there's a possibility even none of them will qualify. Nexus acquired their first 3 eliminations, but Schoolboys are taking losses against REDWIND Esports. Steven goes down. One of the most experienced players on this team is now out of the equation, so Schoolboys will have to recoup from their losses once again and bring them back. Luckily, the recall tower next to Kasavista is still active, so Schoolboys can use it. However, VASIYO Esports are now looking to get inside TV Tower. It's already quite occupied with REDWIND Esports as well as Hell Guardians both being in the same spot. And then Cruel Esports is coming in from the south. Cruel Esports is coming from Casa Vista to TV Tower. If VASIYO Esports enters, then this will become a 4-team battle. And that is way too chaotic even for my taste, Lucifer.
I agree. It ends up being a 4-way battle, which did start off at TV Tower. If it continues further, there's going to be a perfect broadcast for all of you to witness as VASIYO Esports are closing the distance. Hell Guardians, they just dropped here to get their weaponry back, but they will be surprised by VASIYO Esports. However, Godzeus will be able to put Shubo down because he was all alone. However, his teammates are close by. Yuno and Arup, they're closing in the distance. Not the right weapons, but Zeus is trying his best. He'll not work out as Yuno charges in with a charge buster, puts him down. However, trouble still keeps striking. VASIYO Esports thought they were the only one, but there is Cruel Esports here who just entered TV Tower to trouble VASIYO Esports as well.
Yuno now making a run for the vending machine room. Little does he know that Cruel is not the only team over here. Schoolboys, after reviving Steven, have come back over here and they're using this UAV, and that UAV is going to reveal a lot of teams over here, so I don't think Schoolboys will be encouraged to go forward. Yuno just about makes it into the vending machine room, gets the res onto Shubho, so that should be the VASIYO Esports players being a little safe even though they're losing their lives. Yuno has to sacrifice his life for the cause. But Cruel Esports are not done yet. They're getting shot by Schoolboys. The 5th party has arrived over here, Lucifer, and they want blood.
Everybody looking forward to points. Schoolboys, they just lost some and that's the reason they're here. They know that this is a hotspot. Aryan out in the open, headshot close up, and he should be able to take him down, and Aryan falls, and that will be another elimination for Schoolboys. They know how close the game has gotten, and if they mess up here, they'll give an opportunity for the Nexus to walk in. And look at this, as we just say the name of Nexus, Shubo finds one of the players from the Nexus. Arceus is down, confirmation. VASIYO Esports, they might have lost their battle around the TV tower, lost some of the players, but they're not all out, so they will still keep troubling the players in the lobby. Schoolboys on the other end, they don't have to be the ones to be troubled, because right now they're the ones who are doing the trouble at TV tower. They've slowed it down, but nonetheless TRINETRA are also here. All the teams at the bottom, one after another, they're either trying to chase the teams at the top or fighting amongst themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Cruel Esports is clearly doing a lot better in this TV tower fight. And Schoolboys, the team that desperately need points, they have their elimination stolen away from them. TRINETRA as well, they've been hanging around in TV Tower for like at least the last 2 minutes, but they haven't made any moves, and now that they finally make their moves, they get the knock onto headshot, but that tiny staircase becomes the choke point that they were afraid of. Finally, it's up to one other player from Gravity Esports to somehow help them out. TRINETRA getting way too stuck in that tiny corridor. Oh my god, even Ron goes down. The nade from Veer, incredible indeed. Anshu and Cruel Esports, they both need to just lick their wounds and get away from this spot. They managed to escape successfully. But Cruel Esports, can they get away from here entirely? I don't think so. And even if they do, TRINETRA is not done yet. They are now clashing against Piyush. They find the knock. They get that elimination. Ron, however, goes down. Hold on. Anshu comes in for revenge. Anshu actually wanted to use the vending machine, and he's done that. But no more money available. So the best that he can do now is just hope that somebody else has the time to do so. TRINETRA used the vending machine successfully. Good revive. PSG gets one more knock. Anshu jumps right back into that time turner and avenges his fallen teammate. They're trading blow for blow. They're going for punch for punch. Every single pound of flesh that's taken off of your opponent gets plugged right back into that vending machine. It's the continuous circle of life. You lose one, you kill someone else, you gain their coins, and then you bring your teammate back. It's the perpetual loop of free fire until somebody goes in for the flank. PSA gets shot from behind, has to somehow provide some backup, but he's kind of trapped over here, running out of options, running out of HP. And while he goes for the heal, he can hear Anshu go around the other side. Anshu instantly puts up the glue wall, but this nade, it lands right at PSA's feet. He blocks it with yet another glue wall. How is he still alive? He tries to bounce, but the nade fails. Anshu finds another one. And the explosions from Cool Esports finally yield them the results that they've been looking for. Finally, they have some semblance of control over TV Tower.
Mistakes being done by the schoolboys. They try to head over in this direction, keep the fight going on. Same from TRINETRA. TV Tower has non-stop action so far. Back again, our schoolboys in tow now, finding on HyperGod. That's another elimination being confirmed. Rule breakers, they were already at the bottom. The last man standing, Shark. VASIYO Esports' Zap with the VSK ends the run, and dreams for rule breakers in their group. They tried their best. Every game they were picking up points, but it was never close to double digits. And Rule Breakers, unfortunately, this time as well, with just 4 points, are out of Solara. And this was the last and only game they had.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's definitely going to be bad news for them. And it's going to be bad news for a bunch of other teams if they don't make the most of this game. One of them is going to be Nexus Esports. Yes, sure, they've got 9 eliminations, but they definitely want to add 3 more to the tally. And they begin by shooting down Coldzera. Retro goes down. It's Zap from VASIYO Esports who's coming in for the third party. And this will make Nexus reconsider this entire battle. You can see that Nexus are already trying to make their way towards the east so that they can hopefully escape, but VASIYO Esports are hot on their heels. VASIYO Esports have conveniently ignored LXP for the time being. And look at that. God manages to get right behind him. He should be able to go for the full escape. Unless Zap pays attention to him. Nope. Zap has no idea. God gets away.
They paid attention fully to the Nexus, and the Nexus are out of play. And now they move towards God, now that they have an idea. So with Nexus out of the run, they have now intention to another player, and they put instantly God down. That's going to be another elimination added. And VASIYO Esports, the team who do not need these eliminations, do not need these points, still manage accumulate 13 total points. And Zap is the one electrifying the entire play of Solara. 7 eliminations on his own, and he's looking still unstoppable.
Absolutely unstoppable, man. But I guess we now need to mention the macro situation of this game. The circle has hard shifted towards the north. Not one single team is in the zone right now. Every single team outside in the blue taking damage to some extent. And Hell Guardians are amongst the few teams that are towards Windmill. So they need to make their way towards the eastern end of the circle. And luckily, there won't be too many people gatekeeping them. If you take a look at it now, you will see that HyperGod as well as God Cruz are very far away. Both of them having their 1v1s against 2 members of Schoolboys. Oh, Steven, just after getting rezzed, has to fight Zeus as well as Bolt High. Even those were rezzed. Literally, Steven, Bolt High and God Zeus were just rezzed right now, and they're about to face each other again. This is so comical. They haven't even landed on the ground yet, and they're already expected to keep fighting.
I mean, if we looked at TV Tower, I think right now it is just a repeat telecast of the same thing, might be different teams happening all over Solara. And with the REDWIND, KINETX also out, chances for majority teams at the bottom are going out. Schoolboys are still keeping at it. They are still reviving the players. They're not giving up here on Solara. They're not losing out or getting eliminated. Gravity Esports also trying their best. They zoom past towards the zone. Their teammates trying to help up. Anuj did miss the initial pickups, but the last one, he does manage to get in as Betso waits for him. And now Gravity Esports, while they are picking up points, they still don't have the idea about how far Schoolboys are in the standings, how much points they've managed to grab. Are they out? So many things going around in their mind. And Gravity Esports, only if this started from the very start of the game that they thought about getting a lot more points and not at the bottom, maybe their chances of qualifying would have been better. But let's see if they still stand a chance, as now VASIYO Esports as well as TRINETRA are closing in for a battle.
Yeah, TRINETRA Esports just coming up near the porch of the wooden house, lobbing nades inside. VASIYO Esports ready to defend. TRINETRA have no choice but to clear out this compound because this is one of the only places with hard cover still available. Unless they decide to just stay on the bottom floor and not attack VASIYO Esports upstairs. In which case, they both will have to share this compound. Obviously, they don't want to be good roommates to each other, so they will lob nades. A little gift sent across to Ron. He finds the knock, and here comes Erzin. Look at that double with the shotgun. He almost completely wiped out VASIYO Esports. It's all up to Zap. Can he zap and electrify his opponents? Or will Ron and PSJ put one of the best teams in the server down on their knees? He's trying to revive his teammate through the glue wall. That actually works, but can Arup survive this? Because he's still trapped over here. There's no way out. All he can do is hope that TRINETRA Esports have no idea that he's still back online and they leave him alone. That's the best case scenario for him.
It was, and the right call to be made. Arup quickly patches himself up with a medkit and now he's back to full health HP. On the other end, Zap instantly, as he gets the good news from his teammate, he makes a quick run from here. He's like, Arup, you figure out whether you're going to stay and fight or maybe look forward to an approach. I think Zap's intentions are clear as he's moving outside the zone, looking forward to revive his teammates, and there it is. Shubo has been brought back into the game. Arup will also make it out of the house, and this was one of the best opportunities from TRINETRA to put VASIYO Esports down. Rather, they give them the breathing space, and now VASIYO Esports are getting back one step at a time.
Yeah, VASIYO Esports, they might be down in numbers, down in loot, but they're still alive and kicking. And that could be all that they need to make a difference. Oh my god, the circle center shifts yet again. And this time, Cruel Esports and Gravity Esports are both in the center. Or rather, at the edge of the circle. But like, yeah, they're the only two teams with some compounds over here. And they both have one each. There is a third compound that's available, and schoolboys are eyeing it. You can see that Headshot and Steven want to come towards it. However, if they try to make that crossing, they might just get shot. So there's a pretty realistic chance that they will just hug the river and stay over there. LXB Esports, on the other hand, cannot thrive in this much pressure. There's barely any spaces left for them, so LXB Esports are out.
While they just went out, it is still TRINETRA and Gravity Esports fighting it out, looking forward to a chance, but now TRINETRA are left out. As the zone's closing in, VASIYO Esports just directly drive into the bridge where the circle is surrounding it. Now TRINETRA have to figure out if they have a chance. Thankfully, they're on a little bit of a terrain above VASIYO Esports. So I'm pretty sure VASIYO Esports, if they try to go in for a peek, TRINETRA will have the angle, but TRINETRA have the trouble of the zone closing in. So they have to be ahead of the game. But the only problem is, if they take the land, the flat land across, Cruel Esports are going to be there. And now VASIYO Esports trying to look forward to information, and across the river, they spot an opponent. Hyper God out in the open, just trying to take some shots. He will soon be taken down if he's not cautious enough, but cautious is what TRINETRA's game was also supposed to be. They walked right towards Cruel, and two of their players are lost.
Yeah, two of their players lost, no revive possible. TRINETRA were almost down on their knees, down in the dumps, getting pressured by both Gravity as well as Cruel Esports, but they still managed to find a sliver of HP, something to work with. The zone will finally push them out. They use the heal pistols on each other and then just pray to God that nobody shoots them on their way inside the zone. Nice shot by Erzin. Gets the knock onto Piyush as well. TRINETRA Esports are going from strength to strength and still holding on to their dear life. But VASIYO Esports will succumb under the pressure. Oh my god, look at that circle shift yet again. It's so brutal, Lucifer. This game is literally putting every team through an acid test. Schoolboys, Gravity Esports, TRINETRA, Cruel Esports, all of them hugging the zone. And that's where it will move. The only team that's actually not on this side of the circle is going to be Hell Guardians. But they have all the pressure in the world. They need to start moving first.
They do. They did take down VASIYO Esports, so the threat that was there for TRINETRA is now gone, even for Cruel. But Steven, the last one standing, he has to be worried. Gravity Esports, they're the ones who are moving along the circle. Whereas Steven, he waited, and now that has given him a difficult situation. BOYZ spots him out. Dave is out for Gravity Esports. Now, as long as Schoolboys survive, it is trouble for Gravity Esports as well as TRINETRA. And with Steven being the last man standing, they have to find a way to take him out, make sure that the major amount of placement points are not taken by Schoolboys. However, as long as he's alive, the imminent elimination is always going to hang above Gravity Esports as well as TRINETRA, but TRINETRA are already done in this game. Therefore, it is only Gravity Esports who will try about it, who will think about it, but I'm pretty sure they don't even have an idea that this is Schoolboy Steven who's right here playing on survival.
Yeah, and as long as nobody pays attention to Steven, he should be fine. He's basically going to use Cruel Esports as his meat shields, his bodyguards right now. Because Cruel Esports have to fight their way against Gravity Esports into the zone. But what Cruel Esports don't know is that Steven is right behind them. And Gravity Esports, even if they see Steven, they won't find out if it's Cruel or if it's someone from Schoolboys. So the only thing that can really take down Steven right now is the zone. And he is losing quite a lot of HP to it. He's gonna try to get inside the zone, but there's barely any hard cover, nor any monster truck drops available for him. So the best that he can do right now is pray that Cruel Esports do better, and he can just piggyback off of their success. But Gravity Esports have occupied so much space in the circle. Look at the amount of crossfires they've established onto the same house, onto the same compound. Finally, the God Crews find Steven, and Schoolboys have been eliminated. We have our top 3 teams. Make it top 2 as God Crews. He is just a lone member. All he's doing is trying to steal an elimination away. He's assisting Gravity Esports cause by shooting at Cruel Esports from below. But that is just going to create problems for Cruel Esports. It doesn't help his cause at all because he's not been given any of those eliminations. And now Gravity Esports go for the full send. They eliminate Cruel Esports.
Last man standing from Hell Guardian is going to be God Crews. Gravity Esports, they should have done this way long back, and Gods is the one. He has been using that Winchester to perfection in this last game of Solara of Group F, and this is just incredible. Group F this time has lit up in this last game. Even though Radhe Thakur was not there playing for Gravity Esports, he was there sitting and helping his boys out. They get a booyah in the very last game. We missed this action from Gravity Esports from the very beginning, and this was the last game. They got the booyah. They got 12 placement points. They get 18 eliminations, but is it all enough? Will it give them a chance to get to the top 6? MVP right now, as I said, it has to be Gods. He had the Winchester, wielding it for Group F, and it worked out in perfection. He is playing the rusher, and playing on a Winchester is just something drastically so good to witness. And also using the Nikita on top of it, it just makes sure that Winchester reload is going to be quicker. Even though in the recent patch that we had a little bit of a nerf going towards Nikita, he still made it work. 7 in total eliminations coming in from Gods.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing so many things. He's supposed to be the rusher, but he's using a Winchester, and he's also playing the support role by using Tiva and Chrono. So yeah, there's clearly a lot going on, and there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. Even Bezo for that matter. He's supposed to be the primary rusher, but clearly Gods had way more damage than him. And then you've got Anuj. He's using the Enhanced Hammer, generally considered an offensive ability, but he's playing hard support by using the Cassie as well as the Tiva. And then you've got Dave, who's probably the only person who's using the standard sniper loadout. Everybody over here trying to do a mix of different things. You've got God supposed to be the assaulter, the rusher, but he's playing a bit of a support role, and Anuj is playing the bomber support hybrid. And yet the damage is only offset by Dave. Look at that. Everybody else somewhere near the 1000 to the 2000 damage mark, but Dave at a whopping 4526 damage.
And it was very much needed, I would say, for Gravity Esports, for one of their players to pop off like this. While we were talking about Gods, major amount of those damage coming in was, yes, Dave. As you can see, 4000, you already mentioned, 6 knockouts as well from his end. And with that, in total, Gravity Esports managed to accumulate 18 plus 12 is equal to 30 points. And right now, all of a sudden, I'm going to be thinking about how much points did they miss out on? Did they add up in their tally for the today's standings, which will push them? If not, this last hurrah, this last big booyah that Gravity Esports got themselves will feel for them. They will feel longing for this until the next tournament that they participate in, because if they miss the chance from the play-ins to the group stages, even after getting a booyah, it's going to be tough. But however, let's take a quick look on how Gravity Esports managed it. Just below Delta Isle, around the roadways, is where they dropped down from there, met Hell Guardians, fought, did not work out. As you can see, they've made a run, got the team back up, and moving around the edges of Funfair, they moved towards TV Tower, and from there, they started stabilizing themselves. And thankfully, every position they were in, as we can see, Crips, they're at the edge of the circle, which gave them a chance that there was nobody behind them. It was only until that final circle that we ended up seeing in the last shot that Steven was there, but even Steven could do nothing. He just played for survival, did not even shoot a single bullet, even though he was spotting the whole squad in front of him from Gravity Esports.
Yeah, Gravity Esports have done a phenomenal job, but is it too little too late? We had quite a lot of expectations from them, and even though this is a big 30-point game by Gravity Esports in the end, have they done enough to overcome Schoolboys? Yes, they have. Gravity Esports climb up 2 spots, and they take the final position to make it to the group stage. Gravity Esports with 73 points. FX Elite also qualify with 76. RM Esports, even though they did not have a great last game, they had built up enough of a buffer in the first few games to let them survive in the 4th spot with 80 points. And then you've got LXP Esports. They were at the number 1 spot, but they did fall down. It's enough for now because they have qualified with 87 points. And then you've got Cruel Esports, who basically just activated their elimination switch towards the second half of the day and scored 118 points by climbing massively. And then of course you had VASIYO Esports with 3 booyahs, but then again they were supposed to be the obvious contenders anyway, right? They are the LAN finalists, so no surprises over there. However, credit where it's due. Schoolboys had phenomenal rotations. With 72 points, they probably should have qualified, but this time it's just not enough.
We were thinking about TRINETRA, we were thinking about the NEXUS. These were the teams who had the better chance. Hell Guardians especially, God Cruz being the last one standing in that final fight. But Gravity Esports were completely out of syllabus for anybody to even think about. And congratulations to our teams who have qualified to the group stages. VASIYO Esports, Cruel Esports, LXP Esports, RM Esports, FX Elite and Gravity Esports, just by a single point from the Schoolboys, and especially this last booyah that they managed to grab for themselves. What an incredible game it came down to be, and I was worried. I was indeed worried because that booyah and then not getting a chance to qualify, playing such a big game in the play-ins at the very end, pulling out all your best strategies, bringing out your best strengths, and you miss the chance. And I think this is what happens when you bring out the best within the game, and the players who play the best are the ones who qualify, and the ones who make it to the top are also the ones who play at the TPT top of their game. That is VASIYO Esports with 3 booyah, 78 elimination, 130 points and a total damage of 47,886 scripts.
Yep, this team did really well in the 2026 spring season as well. They were one of the LAN finalists, and even though they didn't get in the best possible spots during the LAN finale, this is another season for them to prove that they belong over here. And this is the biggest proof of that. Out of the top 5 players, 3 of them belong to VASIYO Esports. The elimination leader, Shubh, he has 24 eliminations and 13,387 damage. And then in the 4th and 5th spot, you got Zap and Yuno from the same team, clearly showing that these guys are a notch above the rest.
We come to a climatic ending. Wait, not climatic, sorry. For a second I was like, wait, climatic? For a second, yes, indeed, it has been a very heated up battle that we ended up seeing. A booyah being taken from teams, and a cinematic ending is what I wanted to say because of how the last booyah was grabbed. And for a second, I think pretty sure this climate has changed at the end for Schoolboys, because all of a sudden, from it being completely bright and sunny, it has taken a dull and stormy weekend for them. It could have been an opportunity for them. However, a great ending that we have had. Hope we end up seeing tomorrow being the last group. We have such more cinematic and a lot more exaggerating games coming through, Crips.
Exactly. Out of the 48 teams that are supposed to play in the group stage, we have 42 teams that have qualified already. The remaining 6 will qualify tomorrow. Find out who are the final few teams that will go on to the next stage of the tournament tomorrow, and that's when we will see you again. Good evening for now, and have a great day.